All right, everybody, welcome to Skip the Line. Very excited to have everybody here today. And we're going to jump right into it. So we like to keep ourselves on a nice tight schedule. So welcome startups, investors, partners, and audience members to our third Skip the Line event, our first investment event, and our 52nd OPN event. So today's agenda, as you guys can see, we're going to have 10 startups, a break, and we'll jump right into networking and the investor side when we get to the end, and I'll explain some of this as we go through. So just from some regulations downstairs, please ensure that you do not have any water, liquids down in this area. And outside of that, for your own regulations, we will be filming the event. If you choose not to be filmed, then I guess you'll have to stand over to the side, maybe in the back tunnel. But this is a filmed event which focuses mostly on the presentations. So we hopefully that nobody has any concerns there. Okay, so first off to start, just to give you guys an idea of where we come from. Some of you are quite familiar what OPN is. We are structured around an investment vehicle, so we have created our first fund, which closed a few months back, which has made 17 investments, and we'll continue to finalize up that. And we started our next round, which is the $5 million fund. And this, again, will continue to do the same investments that we have done in the past with a focus on early stage startups. We invest in companies from pre-seed to Series A. At this time, we evaluate and split it probably 60-40, which is seed round up to Series A, about 60% of the fund, and then early stage pre-seed would be about 40% of that. Some of the upcoming events that we have, and this will kind of give you an idea of today, the top 5 companies which will be picked by the panel. They will give their feedback on which companies they like in ranking. So gentlemen, please keep that in mind. And from there, those companies will then, the top 5 will be sorted, and those companies will be pitching on Thursday night at City Hall. So we have another event where it is more of a session with business advisors and investors to give feedback to the to the startup. And the way that is structured, 2 of the top companies will have 7-minute pitches and everybody else will do 3 minutes. And those are done to give more exposure to the startups and help them again in their quest for raising funds. Our next event after that would be September 18th at York, which is a smaller event that we run. And again, this is to help startups get prepared for their pitching. And again in October, which then moves into our next Skip the Line event in November. Some quick numbers. We've been operating, this is going into our 3rd year, where I guess we'll have completed 3 years in October. 51 shows, 52 as of today. Lots of attendees, pitches, and startups that we work with. And again, our whole mantra is that we're trying to help you find money faster and get you into the startup world and growing your business. Some of our sponsors for today, StartupHERE, Toronto, and the City of Toronto. We've been working with them for the better part of 3 years now, or 2.5 years. And they're a great partner allocating us the space. And of course, when we drive into our larger events, it's great to get as many young entrepreneurs out to the events that we can. So we welcome you guys to that. Flow has been a sponsor to the event, and Mindful Tea. The products are upstairs. And then going forward, Parachute will also be working to provide coffee to the events. And we can also put Hard Boot in here because we forgot Hard Boot, which is one of the other sponsors. Yeah, don't worry about that part, it's okay. I never promote it anyway, so I guess talking about it doesn't really help. So that's my software company and why we don't always promote it, but today I am. Yes. Okay. So the advisors, and we seem to be short one man, so Benton is probably running late. So we'll catch him up when he gets here. We have Benton from GTAN and Ozan from Keiretsu. Jeff Hudeman from Maple Leaf Angels. Jeff Champagne from Spark Angels. And Angelo Del Duca from York Angels. He's the one with the broken foot. All screeners and all part of the Angel network in the greater GTA. So the startups that are going to be pitching today, we have 10 companies: Quickly, SmartDesk, Ethica, CMeow, Aerolife, 3D Escapes, True Impact, Blue Key, Highmark Interactive, and, oh my God. Yes, Fly Shot. I'm like, shot, Fly Shot. The logo will sink in eventually, right? Okay, and a little bit about myself, just quickly, and you can find this on LinkedIn if you're to look at it. I'm part of the angel screening groups at York and GTAN. I've been an investor for close to 10 years and investing in early stage startup companies. Started a software company myself 12 years ago, and this is kind of the track and why we created the OPN events, which started about 4 years ago, because we wanted to find a way to give back and help integrate into the community to help the startups seek the help and funding that they were looking for to grow their business. We have Laura up at the top. Brian, also up at the top, or walking with the camera. Mike's not here tonight, but we are the team that kind of help make all of this work. So why don't we give a hand to all of you guys for coming out, because you guys all rock. So how's the format going to work? So tonight we will be having 10 companies pitch. They are timed. The pitch will be 7 minutes. At 6 minutes, I will raise my hand notifying the startup that you have 1 minute to 7. If you do go over the 7 minutes, at 8 minutes, I will just cut you off with the mic by talking. And we will go into the Q&A, which is 10 minutes. The Q&A is conducted by, right now, the 4 to be 5 advisors. And you guys will just start asking questions. Hit the button to turn the mic on. And please make notes, of course, on the book or on your documentation for that. And then at the end, at the 5 companies finish, we'll then go for lunch. When we do break for the lunch, the advisors and the startups will make their way through the door up the stairs. The rest of the people, the audience, you guys will have to kind of maintain in this area until we finish at the end of the night. Because it is a paid or closed event, the idea is obviously the startups will be able to integrate and work with the advisors. At the end of the event, when everything is completed, just before 9 o'clock, everybody then can make their way upstairs into the back, and everybody can network and drink some water and have whatever is remaining of the food, and that will take place upstairs. So hopefully everybody's okay with that, but that is the process that we're going to go through. And we'll transition at the 17-minute mark to the next company. I will make my way up. You'll see me transition, which is where we'll be ending, and then the next group will start their pitch right away. So without further ado, we will jump right into it. Investors that are in the room, please make sure you take your notes. We will have handing out some documentation, and Alfred at the top will be will provide those documents for everybody, and we will then take those documents and take 5 minutes to talk to you guys at the end of the event to go through kind of what we're looking to do, how it's going to work on the investment side, and then we'll break and go upstairs. So we'll keep working that format as we move forward. So quickly, you're up first. From here, I guess? Yeah, we'll do it from here. And just as a side note, please try and keep any conversation to a minimal, just so it doesn't affect the screening. So this moves it. Yeah, you'll just click this. I'll time it, and I'll put my hand up. You can time it too. But you see that? You just got to push the button over.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Check, okay. Awesome. First there was Bruce Lee, then there was Jet Li. Now it's time for Quick Lee. Quick Lee is karate for your mind. Before I jump into it, let's do a quick experiment. Who do you recognize here on the screen? You can scream it out, if anybody. Yeah, precisely. And most people will recognize the sports superstars of our world. And maybe I should have put Bianca up there instead of, that's for later. Most people will recognize the sports superstars, and we want the brain champions of the world to be recognized as well. Alex Mullen won the World Memory Championship last 3 years in a row, and Raymond is also a World Brain Champion. There is no platform for them to be celebrated and shine. The World Memory Championship, the Spelling Bee, the Brain Bee, these are small, scattered events, and no one's leveraged the digital infrastructure of today to create a unified platform to bring these guys to the next level. We are doing that. So, Quick Lee is building the world's first MMOCG, massive multiplayer online cognitive game, the Fortnite, the World of Warcraft for cognitive games. Users will come and sharpen their brain, compete at a global scale, and have the chance of winning real money and then recognition. Think about all the kids who can't compete at an athletic level. They can train their minds and try to be brain superstars. And when superstars rise up, the sport rises up, kids get inspired to follow in their footsteps. Michael Jordan raised the level of basketball. Wayne Gretzky raised the level of hockey. We want to bring that into cognition. Before I go deeper, tell you a little bit about the market. There's over 1 million monthly searches on Google for brain games, and 100K for cognitive development. People are interested in this. We are going after the cognitive skills and game-based learning market. Both of these are growing at over 30% a year. They're going to double in the next 3 years. And if we do this right, we can move into the digital education space, which is over $200 billion market, going to be $300 billion in 5 years. There is competition in the space. They play in 2 different spaces. We break it into knowledge and skills. Knowledge is your math, trivia games, English, all of it. Skills is focus, attention, flexibility. Players are playing on both ends of the spectrum and Quick Lee wants to bring them together because knowledge and skills are the building blocks on which you build on further education. The key point here is the market is still fragmented. We anticipate consolidation, and that would also be a great exit strategy unless we become the hub and buy out other players. We differentiate ourselves in multiple ways. We blend knowledge and skills together, as mentioned. We have a competitive engine, and we're going to give real awards, money, and recognition to the winners. As in, we want to be the first mover into MMOCG. If we're thinking it, I'm sure somebody else is as well. As we do this, we also collect data on our players. We understand their cognitive profiles, how good you are at math, English, different things. And then we will apply machine learning to drive personalized modules for every individual and their education. A couple of game screens for you guys. As you can see, you have different types of questions, like the geography question over there. There's a solve the puzzle problem. So the game works that you have a series of challenges that come up, and then the first person to complete all those challenges wins the race. A little bit of the content variety. Again, different types of questions. It's about creatively asking the same type of education and cognition content. We launched last October. Throughout the year, we've had steady growth. And earlier this year, we crossed 135K in funding. And in July, we crossed 15,000 signups. We're almost at 20,000 signups now. And from that, we have 7,000 monthly active users and about 2,000 weekly active users. We're looking to do a bridge round of another 135K. This will take us to the seed round. And this will go towards product enhancements and marketing boost when we launch live competitions in 2 months and in operations like our content designers and things like that. 135K at 5%, for 5%. Our revenue model predicts that in 2 years, we can grow this to $4 million in annual revenue by the end of 2021. primarily from paid features, which I can talk about in a minute, I will talk about, and then sponsorships as well for folks. For example, HQ, one of our big competitors, made $10 million in sponsorship only last year. Our founders are my brother, actually, Manu. He's heavy into UI, UX, and my mom, who's a teacher from K through 12, and she brings very good insight into the type of content that kids require, and myself. So it did start as a family startup, and now we've grown way beyond that. So this is pros and cons for people, but it's worked out really well for us, a lot of organic synergy. We have good tech leadership experience from Google, Uber, strong education background from McGill, Georgia Tech, and a teacher supporting us. The rest of our team also is a strong technical team. That was our key focus. Daksh has over 20 years of software development experience. Manik is an iOS developer, and Kyoka Labs, that's our primary development partner, has done games and education apps in the past. Joanna is a curriculum developer, so she keeps us in line with what is the latest in education curriculum, and Pavan is a digital marketing expert. We've been pitching at different events and competitions throughout this year, and we actually won another competition last month, Founders Live event at Google, and this is again just validation of our vision and product and team. The same thing from our reviews. We've been getting good reviews from our players. They enjoy the game, and we also survey our users just to make sure we understand what they want, and they've asked for live competitions and cognitive profiles, both of which are in our pipeline. I like to end with another quick experiment. When you guys look at this screen, how does it make you feel? What do you think? Okay, yeah. Most people are not the happiest when they see kids just spending their times on the phone. But what if we told you that these kids are learning new knowledge, training their minds? Now, how does it make you feel? This is what we want to achieve by bringing out the brain champions, by bringing this platform to the world, because kids will be inspired and change their mindset towards learning. So please, if you want to support an EdTech disruptor in this way, help us out. Thank you.
Perfect. Angelo, do you want to start off?
Great seeing you.
Likewise.
I have a few things that I think would be what I would be looking at. First of all, what is the target age? And of your ask, you have asked for 135K. I'd like to get more clarity on the terms. What would I get in return for that 135K investment in your company? And more importantly, how do you, and this gets to a couple of items, how do you acquire your customers? So, sure. And how much does it cost to acquire a customer? So what is your customer acquisition cost? Yep. And what is the lifetime value of that customer?
Yeah, absolutely. A great question. So let me start by the demographic and the targeting. We chose to go demographic agnostic and keep our targeting more psychographic specific. What our competitors have shown, and they've released this in their blogs as well, like Elevate, Lumosity, that there is no specific demographic that is interested in sharpening their brains and training their minds. What we see is that it's a psychographic targeting that's more relevant. So people who are interested in puzzles, Sudoku, crosswords, who want to, kids who want to show that they're sharper than their friends. That's the kind of demographic and psychographic targeting that we go after. We will narrow down, Angelo, the more we learn who wants to use this app. But what we've noticed from our research so far, the market research, is that do not get demographic specific too early. So we chose not to. Regarding the terms, it's 135K at you'll get 5%, and it's on a safe note. So we've chosen to go a safe note route just being early stage, we're happy to switch over to shares if the right investor comes in and that's what they want, absolutely, but all our current investors, and we've had 30% committed on this round as well, on a safe note already. So at this point, we're continuing with the safe note, but completely open to moving towards shares when it makes sense, financially and otherwise. And your last question was related to the COA and LTV. So we get users through paid marketing and through organic marketing. It's about a 70-30 split. Paid marketing goes through Google and Facebook. These are the two main platforms we use. We started at a $2.50 COA, which we've now brought down to 60 cents. This is through repeated experimenting with different types of ads. We have visual ads, video ads, all sorts of different things, and we've brought our COA down to just over 60 cents. And our core users, which is about 5 to 7% of the users, they play perpetually. We don't see them really drop off. They drop for a bit, then they come back, like 3 to 4 months, and they keep playing on. And then maybe 25, 30% of the users will play for a few weeks, and then they'll start tapering off. And this is early signs. We got to understand this product doesn't have, the reward systems like monetary rewards. It doesn't have the recognition components yet. People are playing because they're enjoying the content. And we also had some early stage bugs, and they still came back. But that's really where we're at. And the organic happens through referrals. Just to close on that part, we have an invite section in the app, and 8% of our users will end up inviting their friends. However, this is also without any monetary rewards or any reward mechanism when you invite your friends. You get coins, but it's not worth anything yet. We're launching our reward store in 2 months, and we expect that to really drive up our invite rates as well. Did I get to your questions? Yeah, good.
Can I just follow up on one other?
Yeah, of course.
So I like the answer to my first question about the demographic and being agnostic on that. And it'd be curious to see, of your 7,000 active users, what age range they are currently. Because I have a sense that actually instinctively, I would think of young users, but I think actually elderly users could really benefit from your platform.
Yes, absolutely. And well, you're actually right on the ball. It's young users and young females, just a little bit on the more female side. That's the one, they're the ones who are playing more. They're the cheaper guys to bring on board. And in terms of for the elderly, we're creating more specific modules to cater to them. They don't always want to be racing. They want to have a little more convenience of leisurely playing, which is contradictory because research shows that the #1 thing to reduce Alzheimer's and dementia is actually processing speed. It's not just about keeping your brain active. What they found is the #1 thing is that you got to keep it active but very fast, and you got to make sure you're time pressured, and that's why we brought that in the game. But the elderly don't want to do that. So now we got to find that balance point, which is do this, it's good for you, and it's hard and tiring, but do it. But you're right on the money on that, yeah. All right, go ahead, Jeff.
Just so we all get a chance.
Yeah.
Quick questions first. You can just answer on the fly. Your tech team, are they full-time?
We have an outsourced team. They're full-time, 5 developers, fully focused on this, and the 2 internal guys are part-time.
Okay. So they're offshore?
Yes.
Okay. And when you say fully, what kind of contractual obligations do they have to you on an ongoing basis? Or you just can rely on them when you need them?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to answer the contractual obligations. We have timelines for the deliverables we want, and those should be met. And then I talk to the owner to make sure that our guys are working on our product. I know only the designer sometimes works on other products as well until they build up their design side. Okay. Does that, okay.
I think so, yeah. When I see your business, I think there's a bit of a chicken and egg thing that you will have to deal with. So can you talk a little bit more about your revenue model?
Yeah, absolutely.
You showed the sign. More specifically, how are you going to get users to spend money, and how are you going to attract sponsors?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I'll go backwards in that one. The sponsors will come a little more with scale, and once we understand who our users are, so sponsors really care that they're spending that money and getting the right type of user for their product or brand, right? But as we scale up more, we'll make sure we define like what kind of profiles of players we have, so we start getting those sponsorships and partnerships going. Prior to that, we have a whole host of paid features that will be launching, and we've approached it in 3 different ways for now. Number one is the content expansion packs. So you can pay either on the premium service or in-app purchases. We're modeling out which is the better route, but you can pay for content expansion packs. So Jeff, the way it'll work is you'll have daily races, right, where people from all over the world will come and race at the same time. So thousands of users, ideally hundreds of thousands of users, racing on this one platform on a series of mental challenges, right? You have a better chance of winning those challenges if you subscribe to the content expansion packs, because from those packs will be all the questions. So think about it like buying the textbook for the test that you got, right? Except now it's a game. Right? So you're going to buy all these content expansion packs either out of interest or because you have a better chance of winning if you practice with them. And then in the races, you get real money rewarded and recognition. So that's the first revenue route. And we're going to launch that in 2 months, the content expansion packs. The second thing is power-ups. Power-ups come in the races where it's like, right now, if you answer a question incorrectly, like the multiple choice, you get a penalty. So you're like stopped there for 5 seconds while the rest of the races are going forward. So we're going to have a penalty shield as an example. This is 1 minute for questions. Okay, so I'm going to go fast. But basically, we have a host of power-ups, right? So penalty shield, live game hints, all these things will be power-ups that users can buy, just like in Mario Racing. And the third one is a host of features, which will also be like deeper insights into your cognitive profile or premium games, things like that. And we anticipate this will drive users these 3 ways.
Probably in the interest of time, we'll get a question in before.
Yeah, sorry, thanks.
All right. Intellectual property, trademarks, patents, anything like that. It seems like that's going to be very key to the success of this as you develop something, so that somebody else doesn't take it. So how does that work in this space?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So what we're doing is we're building cognitive profiles from the data, and we want to apply AI on it to drive personalized education modules. So these are the 2 things we will be going after a patent for later this year. So one is the data nobody else will have. It's our games, our users, our proprietary data. You can copy the concept, but you can't copy the data, right? So that data will be with us. And then as we map out how the AI will work, that together will be patented. So that's our first layer of IP protection. Beyond that, it's just about the features that we have coming and the types of games, creative games that will differentiate us, not to mention the content.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good.
Perfect. We got to cut you off there. Thank you very much. Sorry, guys. Got to ask questions quicker.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you. We can talk
We'll
at
talk
lunch.
later, hopefully. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Smart Desk, you're up.
Perfect. Ready to go. Okay. So $40 billion is entering this market in the next 5 years. 3 years ago, we started this company, and my name is Craig Poulton. I'm one of the co-founders of the company, and I'm very excited about what we're going to present to you today. So, what does Gartner say about this market? Gartner's saying that CRM is leading the charge in all software markets and in terms of revenue. So if you're to pick a software market to get into, CRM is the space to get into. So what's the size of the market right now? Right now, $40 billion is being spent on CRM right now. The market is expected to double to $80 billion in the next 5 years. So this is a growing market with lots of room for lots of new players. Thomas Tungus, who is he? He is a partner at Redpoint Ventures. He is a SaaS expert, and what he says is if he was to start a company, he would start a company in CRM. He'd go after any of the top 3 big companies out there in this space, and earning just 1% of their dissatisfied customers would earn him a $1 billion business. So they say that a person's intelligence is a reflection of how much they agree with you. Well, we agree with Thomas very much. We think he's quite smart. So market share. Salesforce is currently the market leader, but they're losing market share. They've gone from about 27% down to about 19%, but they're not slowing down. They're still growing at 13 to 14%. Again, lots of room in this market. So what is SmartDesk? SmartDesk is a SaaS application in the CRM space that helps small companies, small businesses succeed in this space. It's a host of features that allow companies to compete. So what have we done to make it easy for small business? Well, we look at a lot of the things that small businesses need and all the KPIs that they've said that they need in a CRM. We've integrated a lot of them into our dashboards, right into SmartDesk, making it a very easy to use application. Ease of use is a big thing for us. We're always focusing and harping on the ease of use for the small business. We've worked with this space for a very long time. Okay, some early stories here. So about 3 years ago, I was approached by Mike Kashani from Berlitz. He was in need of a website and a CRM solution and asked me if I knew any CRM solutions. I said, well, lo and behold, we're launching one right now. And he wanted to take a look at it. One of the reasons why he was looking is he said he didn't have the appetite for Salesforce. It was very expensive. He had to hire a consulting company to come and help him set it up. Most of his users in previous lives complained about it, and he didn't have the appetite for the time it would take to get it set up. So he took a look at SmartDesk. He loved it. They've been using it for the past 3 years now, and they're managing about 4 times the number of leads from when they first started working with us. Another reason why they like us, easy and simple pricing. We charge $3.99 a month, and that gives you access to all the features that SmartDesk has. And the only scalable cost for companies is $25 per user. So as companies scale, it's a very cost-effective solution for companies to scale in this space. Competitively, this is one of the areas where we win. Plus, we charge a $4.99 onboarding fee. This helps companies start off on the right foot. So we help them with their workflows, their pipelines, their email automation, and getting all their members trained on the software. This gets them up and running, going, and working, sometimes within 24 hours. So one of the things is some of the people in the industry, they've stopped supporting the small business. They've gone for the enterprise. And what they do is they offer annual billing. Now, most small to medium-sized businesses don't have an appetite for $30,000 to $40,000 to get started in CRM. So we offer a monthly fee. We do annual billing as well at a discount, but we do the monthly fees, and that allows companies to get started for as little as $1,000. So growth potential. So currently we're targeting about $350,000 in revenue. We have a very aggressive growth strategy. We see our company growing to be worth a $2 billion company. We've got a very elaborate plan on how to do it. I'll hopefully get into that with some of you guys soon. So what's the raise and the exit strategies? Very important slide. So we're looking for about $500,000 from angels and friends and family. We've soft circled about $400,000 so far. We've got Shred program. We've got 3 years now with Shred, so we've been successful with them. That's part of our strategy going forward. Plus, we're talking with OCE right now on some of the programs that they offer. So the exit, that's a very important question. So we see a global expansion in our future. You know, this kind of market is only bound by the internet, which is not very bound for companies these days. So as we want to expand into other markets, this is where we see ourselves raising another round with the idea of going global. And this is an opportunity now for angels to exit at 10 to 15 times. So we picked that amount not out of our head because that's the amount of revenue we'd have to be earning in order to raise money at that round for our company. And of course, there's always the option of an acquisition or an IPO. This is a very strong Pac-Man industry. A lot of companies get gobbled up. We'll look at any opportunities that come our way. Use of funds. This is not Lamborghini money for us. So we plan on using this money strictly for sales and marketing. This is our focus. We have a viable company. We have a viable product. We've got customers. So this is not going into concept and development. This is going into sales and marketing. So who's the team that's going to get you there? We've all done this before. We have expertise in sales. We've got expertise in marketing. We have expertise in business, small business, and even enterprise. And of course, technology. So this team is not together by accident. When we started this company, we knew that this would be the later stages of expertise that we would need. We have a couple of advisors who are also helping the growth of the company. And final slide, awards and recognition. We were selected by Whitby's 1855 Accelerator Program, sponsored by BDO. So that gives us lots of opportunities to house our company and grow our company. We got selected by Brandam 300 as one of the top 25 up-and-coming companies in Canada. So we're very excited about that. And because of that, we got recognized by the town of Whitby. We got to go to the town hall and meet the mayor and take a photo and all that fun stuff. So we're getting some attention. So 2019 has been a very exciting year for us, and we're looking forward to completing this year and next. And if you have any questions, thank you very much.
Perfect, thank you. Ozan, you want to start?
All right.
Thank you.
Great presentation. Thank you very much. I'm just going to dive right in. You're right. CRM market's very big. It's growing. It's a global market. What are you selling? Just because it's every single CRM solution out there claims to be easier than the other one, right? And this is exactly your pitch that I saw. What are you selling?
We're selling an all-in-one solution. So a lot of
something different.
Right.
Everybody's doing all-in-one solution. Everybody's a niche player. Everybody's a great solution, easier than the other.
Yep.
I can get you out. I'll save your life.
Right.
Tell me something more.
Okay, so we're
didn't hear
faster, better, cheaper, right? So we are quick to implement companies. We are a lot cheaper, as we saw, than a lot of the other players out there. And of course, we are faster, better, and yeah, cheaper. So it's a very quick implementation for companies to work with us. Now, we've integrated a lot of things. I've been working with small business. I've worked on a lot of these applications, integrating MailChimp and WordPress and all of these different applications. Companies need somebody to help them, to guide them through the process. That's part of our onboarding package. We don't send people to a bunch of training videos. We walk them through. We've budgeted to have people and experience with us getting them on board using our software. So the support is really key for us.
Do you have a plan to increase the revenue per customer? Like, I'm just thinking, okay, so if I think about your model, or I guess let me start first by asking, your typical customer is going to have how many users? Like you say, you were charging like $400 a month plus $25 a month per user.
Yeah.
So if I was thinking of, okay, say a company that's going to have 40 users, that's going to be $1,000 a month plus 400, so about $1,400 a month in revenue.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount, I think, for you guys to hit your growth targets, and you're going to have an awful lot of new customers, right? And you're going to have some attrition, so you're going to have to go that way. So to have a sustainable revenue model, I guess, are you going to be focusing at bigger companies so that your average revenue per client is going to be bigger than that? And also the part B of that is, are you going to be looking at other products or other ways to increase the revenue per customer, which obviously is the easiest way to grow?
Excellent question. So the answer is yes, we have some additional packages. So for companies who need training that is above and beyond what we offer, we're going to have packages to offer them. There's a service component that we do have for companies who want to do that, want to have that discussion with us on how to really succeed in this space. The average, well, for one thing, right now we're charging Canadian dollars, right? So we're going to make the switch at some point to US dollars, keeping the same pricing model. So we'll get a 30% jump right there.
30% bump, okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the reasons. And yes, we've kind of, looked at our company in 3 different personas. You got the 1 to 10 employees. That's not really our sweet spot. Our sweet spot is like the 10 employees and up. They get the most use out of our system. Now, we have some customers right now who are 30, 35, 40 users using SmartDesk. That's a good model for us. It works really well. But we do have, a target for the enterprise. The way that SmartDesk is structured, another conversation, is we can get into enterprise and different divisions very easily the way that we've structured the company.
Okay. All right, good, thank you.
What is your MRR right now?
We're looking at about 14,000.
And what was it a year ago?
About $11,000, $12,000. Yeah.
So in 1 year, it's gone up $2,000 a month?
So we launched the company, like the product, in late June. So what we did is we had an early stage version. We didn't start with this version of SmartDesk from day one. So when we first company, Berlitz, we started working with, we didn't have a name for the product yet. We just had some core features. They came on at a pretty good nugget. We've had some other customers who've they've been our early adopters, and they're higher user amount. So it's been a good cash flow from those companies. Now we've been building our prospect list. We've got a good number of companies in the pipeline. We're starting to bring on new customers now on a monthly basis. So we expect now that growth to start taking place. We didn't really launch in the first year or two.
Got it. Did I miss a pre-money valuation? Is it a safe, or what are you doing with?
So we're offering preferred shares or convertible note. The pre-money?
Pre-money value?
The pre-money value is we are looking about $3.6 million. That's with a discount.
Canadian.
Okay?
We have to ask.
So,
Canadian funds.
oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I didn't catch that. Sorry, Canadian. Yes.
No, I wasn't asking whether you were Canadian or not.
No. Yeah, yeah.
So I have a couple of questions along the same line, or in the same vein. How many customers do you currently have in place?
Yep.
And how long have they been customers? And then lastly, and it may have been touched on, but what IP do you have that would prevent others from replicating this void that currently exists in the marketplace?
Okay, so replicating the market, it's not, well, first of all, the interesting thing about IP is we are targeting developing some AI and predictive and prescriptive analytics. Something has come to us, and we're actually talking to a company tomorrow that has some intellectual property that we're looking at. So there is a play for us in that space. And I'm sorry, I forgot the first question. How many customers? Oh, question, yeah. So we have about 20 customers right now.
And how long have they been customers?
Some of our customers have been from day one. We had about 3 customers when we first started in the first year. We added about 10 customers in year 2, and the rest, yeah, in the last few months, actually.
Yep. Have you lost any customers, or have you got 100% retention? I'm just curious.
We have lost some, but the ones that we've lost in the first 30 days where this really wasn't the right solution for them, and they got overwhelmed by it. So there was 1 or 2 that we've lost that were in that first demographic that we're not really targeting, that 1 to 10. Sometimes entrepreneurs feel overwhelmed and they feel like need a software, but they try to do it all themselves. Right? Some can, some can't. But when you get to that company that's got employees and they can do delegation and they have to keep track of all their customers, that really is a sweet spot for us. We've lost nobody in that space.
Okay. So as long, yeah, with your preferred target demographics, you've got 100% retention. The only
100%.
ones you've lost have been out of your
Yep, they were in that.
demographics. Okay, good.
Yep.
How are you finding new customers?
Excellent question. So right now,
Can I add to that question? You mentioned Salesforce. How do you plan on attacking or getting Salesforce customers?
yeah, well, Salesforce is actually an easy one. So we've won over 2 customers so far from Salesforce, and they were the easiest sales that we got. Berlitz was one of them, and another one was the support. They got the lack of support. Being a small business, they couldn't get the support from Salesforce to get the things done that they were looking to done. So for them, it was an easy conversion because the support model that I was saying before was what won them over. So how are we getting new customers? New customers takes a budget, takes marketing. That's why we're raising the funds. So right now, it's all been referrals. We've gotten a good number of customers. Some customers we received from doing pitches, for the company, for the investment, and decided to come on board. So the word's getting out. We've got a good pipeline right now of new customers. It's all through word of mouth. But we know we'll do a lot better with the sales and marketing budget.
Maybe that's part of what I'd like you to answer.
Oh, excellent. So we've got, again, a detailed list. So we've got, paid advertising. We've got telemarketing as part of it. We've got a plan to hire salespeople with quotas. So if our salespeople hit the quotas with the support that we're giving them and the leads that we're generating, 10 new customers per month per salesperson gets us to some pretty incredible numbers in about 3-4 years. Well, actually along the way, but they get pretty interesting after the 3rd or 4th year.
So Craig, on that track,
Yep.
Which of your competitors keeps you up at late at night?
I'll be honest with you, none of them. There's lots of room in this market. Frankly, what they're doing excites me more than keeps me up at night, because I see what they're doing in the marketplace and some of the mistakes that they're making, and the opportunities are there for a company like us to pick up those customers. But no, I can't say that there's anybody that keeps me up at night. I have a 5-year-old that keeps me up at night.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Thank you. TrueScan.
Hello, my name is Diana Lucati. I'm the founder of True Impact. True Impact was founded in 2012. We are a neuromarketing research firm. We have locations in Toronto, Montreal, and New York. My challenge before starting this company, I worked as a marketer for almost a decade, and before that, I was educated in neuroscience. So my challenge was always the following: how do people feel? How do I get to the core of understanding what they're going to do next? Where do they look? How do they feel? And what do I need to do next? The problem is that the data comes from neuroscience, and neuromarketing studies are usually quite expensive. For example, here using eye tracking just to kind of see where people are looking, you can see they're looking in the red spots, which indicate the race to X, that they're aiming to close the ad, not necessarily look at the content. So currently, if you're trying to get a better understanding of the customer, you have to use eye tracking, neuroscience. You have to also combine it with some marketing consulting to make sense and connect the dots for the customers. So our solution is called TrueScan, which comes at a much lower price point. It is a neuromarketing SaaS platform aimed at predicting attention, understanding and predicting what's going to trigger emotion, and making design recommendations for online and print media. The way it works is that a client sends us an image. We predict where attention is going to go on that image based on computer vision and principles of design, and ultimately report back on what happened, so what, now what, right? So there's a lot of marketing strategy in there as well. To date, since this product was launched in 2015, we have proven the product market fit, and we have secured over 160 customers. One of our largest clients is actually Canada Post. They've been with us for about 4 years. What we do that other players in the space do is visual prediction, but what we do differently is that we also look at predicting emotion and also making design recommendations, which is what marketers truly need. We've had some pretty good results in practice with big brand names, helping them drive that ROI. Our revenue model is monthly subscriptions. We have 2 types, Basic and Pro, where Pro gives you access to some insight as a service. So starting in 2020, this is the type of plan that we are looking at, and Team just provides more licenses. We're also looking at building different business and agency plans, selling API licenses, as well as aggregate data reports, and building a consultancy network of trainers and sessions and seminars and things like that. So since we launched, the core product was True Neuro, which has to do with measuring brain activity for marketers, but that market has consolidated, and we found an opportunity in this software platform where we apply a lot of the process that we learned by doing neuroscience research to a neuromarketing SaaS platform. So TrueScan has been growing in the first year with 21 accounts, a high churn rate because that was not really our focus. We were mostly testing the market, and growing steadily to 2018 where our churn has gone down significantly, got a bit more revenue, and then this year we're on track with 160 clients and about 90K. This round, the seed round, is made to help develop the platform, essentially automate a process that has been done manually by our team, and the next Series A will be put toward building the expert system that predicts and offers neuro design recommendations automatically. So our go-to-market, my background is digital marketing, so our go-to-market includes a lot of web SEO, SEM, content marketing, webinars, online communities, demos, as well as conferences. I'm a speaker at many conferences throughout the year, so this is always an opportunity for us to be at trade shows and events and educate. Our goal is to have a beta, then throughout the course of the year, get people signed up and have 100 repeat clients before the end of the year. Our market size, overall global ad spend is about $560 billion, but we're specifically looking at the emotion analytics and emotion detection industries, which are set to grow to $92 billion by 2024 at 41% growth. If we were to just do a quick calculation, it's just over $100 million in opportunity per year. So the team is comprised of myself. I am the founder. My background, like I mentioned, neuroscience, sales, marketing. Ferdinand is our technology VP. He has expertise in brain-computer interface and machine learning. Vuk Pavlovek is our operation UX statistics person. This team is, so we are essentially the core team. We've been working together for over 5 years now. And two of our advisors are a professor in machine learning and computer vision, Luigi Troiano, as well as Lana Novikova, who has over 25 years of experience in market research and emotion AI. Today we are raising $500,000 in convertible notes at 2% interest, 20% discount, and 2.5 cap. The use of funds, about a third of that goes towards building the platform that allows anyone in the world to sign up, get their image tested. So an image could be the front of a direct mail piece or a website screenshot. That is essentially automating this manual process we've been doing. And 2/3 of that goes to sales and marketing, with a little bit for legal, because we're delivering a process and a solution that is novel and does not currently exist anywhere. So our exit looks like an acquisition by a company like Salesforce, who acquired Bonobo AI for $40 million. Nielsen investing in Visual DNA for at 28.6, and Goldman Sachs in Persado at $30 million. Another one of our competitors is a company called Hotjar, which also does usability testing and user understanding and so on. So this is TrueScan. It is market tested for many years. It is, there's quite minimal competition. There's nothing else like this. And we are targeting a global scale. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Just
Please, no, go ahead.
Sorry. Confirming the 90K didn't have a dollar sign in front of it. Is that a dollar? 90,000?
Yes.
Dollars. Okay.
Yes.
Great presentation. Thank you again. Just a clarification. Are you a consulting firm trying to build an AI platform?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, you showed Burger King as a case study. Was this done using your algorithms?
Yeah.
Can you give me a case study on what you looked at, what happens?
Sure.
How
So-
effective it is?
Absolutely. So Burger King came to us with the challenge of improving gross revenues from coupons. Their hero product was a hamburger called Angry Burger. So they had it on the front of this coupon page, and it was the burger, and then in the back it was like a chicken type burger. And all the attention was going towards the one in the back because there was quite a higher contrast. And again, computer vision prefers areas of high contrast, certain shapes, certain colors, and human faces. So we said, look, that's taking away, simplify all these other elements. So this is what I call neuro design principles, which are usability design principles so that the brain enjoys them, almost like what the brain finds to be beautiful. And so with the simplification they launched, and in that quarter they experienced 46% growth in gross profit from coupons. I apologize.
What was your revenue from that piece of work compared to if they were to use your new solution, your new SaaS solution?
So even as a services model, our margins are 80%. The market is very interested in optimizing creative, and there's no tool out there to optimize a visual thing that is subjective. So you think of an ad agency and a creative director going to their superiors and saying, I believe purple is the best thing. And there's no subjective, or it's very subjective, and there's no objective way to quantify that. So that is essentially our challenge is now taking it from, let's say, 80% margin to 85, 90, but it's more about driving that churn. So I'll be focused on acquisition as well as retention as we move to a SaaS platform. Sorry, it's a lot in one.
So visual recognition technology is out there being used on many, many, many different categories and sectors. And are you competing? Are you using? Because these technologies,
Yeah.
they're coming in strong, and I'm trying to figure out where to place you within that?
Yeah, this is predictive analytics. There are no people tested. So we use our neuroscience, our true neuro product, where we measure actual people's brain activity and actual eye tracking, and we use that to validate TrueScan, which is just predictive analytics. It is meant to sit within a larger marketing platform as well, a predictive analytics platform. So we don't have any privacy concerns or anything like that because we're not testing people on a regular basis. We are using algorithms that have been proven and tested to work time and time again for website, for DM, for so on. Does that help?
So I just want to have a better understanding as to how you're going to scale, especially if you've had a traditional consulting firm that's using technology to advance it. How do you scale when consulting service models usually have a high touch point that you need to really engage with them? How do you automate that whole process?
It's about automating my brain, essentially, what I was looking at. How do I get less of my time on the phone and actually automating that? So first step is building this platform where people can submit their images instead of sending it to our team to manually do the scanning. They get that result in real time. They don't need to bother us, especially on a basic plan. Whenever they do need an explanation, that's where the pro plan comes in with some more. The way we're looking to scale this is with digital marketing efforts with a lot of the same. So over 160 clients have all been acquired by myself. So the same kind of things that have worked, probably with more emphasis on the UX market, the customer experience market, and a lot more digital, as opposed to going to speak at conferences, which really helped a services-based business. So there's a whole marketing plan essentially behind how we're going to grow, and we want to first start out with a repeat business and then take it from North America globally.
So on that point, how many repeat customers do you have, and how long have they been repeat customers?
Right, so Canada Post has been working with us for about 4.5 years. Subway, about 3 years. I'm trying to think of what other brands, Metro, TELUS, like some of the companies listed there, they've all been in the 2 to 3 year mark. That's the kind of time we've been ramping this product up, and we've noticed that the True Neuro product wasn't really growing exponentially year over year. So how many clients we have to date is about 160. Our churn is about 61%, so that is one of our focus as we move them all to the platform. And was there another part to that question that I missed? No. Okay.
I'm guessing your financials that are in the pamphlet are wrong. You have 3 offices, and I mean, although you're positive cash flow all year, but sales are $60,000, $80,000, and at the end of year 5, they're still only $1 million, and it just seems like very low sales for a company with 3 offices and 100 plus customers, this sort of thing. So I guess I'm guessing this is a misprint, or is this true, or where do you see the company in 5 years as far as sales? Where I'm just trying to think is it seems like a great business model, sounds very nice, but is it investable? Is it really for angels, or is this small, something that needs a little more time to mature, as some of the companies we look at are? But typically we see presentations in companies that are looking at multiples over the years. Those seems like I guess unless these are wrong, it's a much slower growth projection. So
it's been an organic growth, absolutely. When I first started the business, there was no other neuromarketing there were 3 in the world. We were the first in Canada. So we took a year or two. In the first year, I sold 6,000. The second year, 75, and then 200. And then I noticed it's kind of leveling off. And then this kind of grew on the side of my garden like a little wildflower. So I said, okay, is this even going to be a thing? And I just nurtured it part-time. And it wasn't until it was at the right time with the right clients that said, you know what, Dee, let me subscribe to this on a monthly basis. That's when the light bulb came on, and I said, okay, we're pivoting. We're doing SaaS, basically. So in terms of the growth, I'm not being super aggressive, I guess, as much as I could be with our multiples and so on. And I think the $2 million by year 3 that we have there is quite conservative, especially if we are looking at API licenses to other advertising platforms and those other revenue sources I mentioned.
Okay. Being conservative is not a bad thing. It's, believe me, because at least 85% of startups don't even come close to their growth projections and their sales projections. So that's okay. So I just wanted to get a feel for what you're in. Okay, thank you.
I guess since nobody else is jumping in, so how much of your business is based on services today versus the SaaS? And is it a true, is that 1 minute? Okay. The SaaS you're getting a monthly recurring revenue from a client, but are you providing a service in return for that? Or is the client using a product to get their own end result?
Yeah, so right now the process is quite manual. This is what we're looking to build with the funds to automate this whole process. So the client is sending us an image. We say, hey, what was your objective here? It's almost like you need to know the question before providing the answer. And then we come up with design recommendations. This is done manually. What we're looking at is a platform where they can submit an image themselves and get a prediction of where people are going to look, a heat map in real time. The Series A will essentially look at building that machine learning system, AI system that comes back and says, hey, reduce complexity here, flip this image of the model, or move this color move this call to action from here to here. Those are the kind of deeper type recommendations that are not able to be provided by software yet. So about 80% of our business today is true scan. It's the SaaS model, and very little comes from true Neuro because I have not been nurturing that as much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Blue key.
Hello everyone, my name is Peter and this is Gloria. We're from Blue Key Educations. People are struggling with learning every single day and without proper assistance or time to make effort. We are the solutions. Today we're going to introduce Blue Key Education, the new tutoring matching platform. We will be the new turning key solution to help people learn faster and easier. Well, the business was started when I immigrated to Canada when I was 17. Later, I went to U of T and I found lots of difficulty in school exams and the culture barrier. There were millions of students like me, like Chinese students. So they're facing a lot of problems and homelessness. I believe there is an opportunity to make a business to help them out. So we start with the college test prep tutoring and help students make better transition from secondary study to university educations. So we help over 80,000 international students from the past 5 years. And now we have 200 tutors and help students from 8 universities in Canada. In 2019, there were 260 million students pursuing post-secondary education. And the global tutoring market is about $100 billion. And we believe with power technologies of this platform, we could get a 1% of the market.
So during the past 5 years doing the tutoring business, we identify a lot of problems existing within the industry. The first one may be personally relatable for all of us, is that it's very hard to find a qualified tutor on demand in your area. And the second one is traditionally it takes a long time and effort to become an actual qualified tutor. And also, if you're immigrants like us, you might have a lack of sense of belongingness because you can't find your place in this new country, and which leads to the fourth problem that due to your racial or gender background or even language barrier, it could be hard, you could be facing a lot of employment discrimination. And how are we proposed to solve that? Is the first one is through our algorithm matching platform, you can find the best tutor immediately. And also, we offer onboarding quick onboarding peer-to-peer training, so you can become a tutor immediately. And also, if you find a private tutor through our platform, it can save some money. And also, if you become a tutor, you can earn some quick cash. And we believe that by doing this platform, we offer a lifelong learning experience because you can refresh your current knowledge or by sharing some skills. And because we offer different courses in different language, we believe we can break down the culture and language barrier because of that. And which, in the end, we have a social network for everyone. Here's the business model, so AKA how do we make money? As you can see, 80% revenue comes directly from the buyer commission. For example, we charge you $20 per month by becoming a tutor on our platform, and that including all the add-on service such as booking, training, and also 10% comes from selling the course material or I'll give you the training. And a small revenue comes from brand affiliations, such as we help you to generate leads from our platform for our partners. And the last one is the ad revenue, which is straightforward because once you have a good traffic, there's the ad revenue can come in. That's how we aim to generate the $200 million revenue by 2021, which is 3 to 5% market share. And so here's the underlying magic, like the secret sauce of our platform. The first one is the chatbot, which is 24/7 customer service, handling all the requests or book a session, schedule a training. And the second one is the key point, which is the machine learning algorithm, which help student and tutor to match immediately based on the information they give us. And the last one is the learning management system, which helps our users do come back, like such as we evaluate your performance, or we track a session, or we schedule a training, something like that.
So we had a $1.8 million revenue in 2018, only generated from offline service business tutoring from students from 8 campuses. And we currently have 200 tutors and offering 350 courses. So this year we will make a revolutionary era to tutoring industry. Everybody can be a tutor, that's the concept, and anywhere, anytime. We will target a different age group and a bigger population in 20 cities in US, Canada. With continued growth for 5 years, we believe we can hit people from like other countries like China, US, and other countries in Asia. We're very confident to reach $6 million revenue in 2 years. And currently we're seeking 750,000 Canadian investment to exchange 10% equity. And the fund will be used to develop the technology and marketing, advertising, and recruiting more senior manager and operations staff. So currently we have 16 full-time staff in our team, and 5 of them have working experience top 500 Fortune companies. And our senior team comprises of marketing, operations, and IT and finance. So Gloria is our marketing director, and she is involved with multiple startup experience. And this is our annual presentation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry, I just want to take a step back and just understand. You're trying to do more than just match up with, and the reason is I see a lot of these pitches, and this one's caught my attention if I understand it properly, because I think, and I've just gone through this personally, and I know a lot of people have trying to find good tutors. Yep. So I have 2 kids that have just graduated university. I have a son in high school, and it is hard to find a good tutor. And a lot of times, my kids are pretty smart. It's not, but a lot of times it's a particular subject. It's something like you're good in these subjects, you're not in others. And so it's hard to find. And we have seen various pitches lately about trying to connect up clients with hairstylists or clients with house painters, or, all these, a lot of these mobile services, and you can kind of say, well, it's easy to find this and that, but I don't know, this one, do you have a lot of company? Sorry, I want to slow down and make sure I get this right. What else are you trying to do besides just match up? If I'm looking for a tutor, okay, and I happen to be outside of Toronto, and I want to find a math tutor for my son, it sounds like you want to be able to help us do that. Are you also trying to go to the next step and control the content? Like, are you competing with Kumon and some of these other places where you want your own content? Or are you simply trying to match where, all these parents over here are looking for tutors for their kids and you're going to help them find the right qualified tutor? What exactly is your model? I'm sorry, you may have said that, but I want to truly understand.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, the buyer commission, which is where you're trying to get, is the matching tutor and student, right? But also we do have the data ownership of our course materials, such as if you're doing like online course training, we record that session, and we might, of course with other people's permission, we are going to sell that video course, for example. Or during that session, the tutor might prepare some course materials, or even also we have the onboarding training material for how to become a tutor immediately, right? So that's the data ownership that we can also generate revenue from, like by selling those.
So, sorry, just the second part. So on your business model now, or on your revenue, are you finding most of your interest and revenue coming from just matching it up, or is it actually from your own content and courses that you're presenting? What are you finding?
So we actually developed two learning methods for tutor business. One is like a student base. For example, if your son is looking for math tutors or maybe like painting tutors, we'll actually search in a bigger pool in the candidate, and we provide them all the training material and need to make sure they know the staff and they can deliver a service with good certification. So, and the second is for a lot of international students, let's say from like me, I'm preferring somebody like maybe a tutor center. So they teach me what to do every step by step, and just make me like quickly to learn some concept, maybe in Chinese or like Korean. So that's just very two things we can combine. So not only offline and online, we can deliver two training method, and just quickly find out. The key concept is we are increasing pool of being a tutor. Let's say I believe you guys have a lot of finance and business background. I'm pretty sure you can use the platform. You can offer some venture capital courses online next day. And I believe maybe like people next door, your neighborhood, are willing to have a session with you. So I don't know, answer questions?
Yeah, I say it sort of does. Is there much competition out there? Like I say, when I was looking for a tutor, I did not see any of this other than basically Kumon. You use Kumon's pounded down your head, but do you have a lot of competition?
Yeah, we do have competition in every geographic area, and also maybe in the age group. Let's say Kumon, you do K-12 and all the way to secondaries. But we are really result-oriented. We guarantee result because we know the concept. Let's say we started with university tutoring. We know every single professors. We know every single their test prep, like what their trick they want to do for each exams. And if you say like high school, we know which high school you go to. Let's say Bayview High School. What kind of teacher they have a problem in teaching, like maybe in one of literature courses. So we can catch the student's problem right away and can deliver that secret sauce with training to our tutors. So the result is more guaranteed, not just offering you learning a skill,
Okay, great, thank you.
Just one thing to add, like there are a lot of competitors out there, but nothing is focusing on, most people are focusing on either early child education or university students like we're doing right now, but nothing is offered in different language or with the variety of courses that we're offering, such as you cannot find a platform that combines math, finance, painting, photography, or even cooking. I guess that's the key differentiation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So continuing on the clarification theme, so far it's been an offline business. So you have a group of tutors and they provide courses face-to-face, I assume. Is it a classroom setting, one-on-one, both, all of the above?
We have both, and it depends on a geographic area. Some of the bigger group or bigger market, we prefer have groups study offline. And after the offline face-to-face, one tutor to multiple group sessions, and then we continue with online if they still have a problem after sessions. Right. So it's very flexible.
So then the idea is that you see the limitations of that business, obviously. So now you're saying, well, if we go offline, we can now create a platform. I guess it's sort of a marketplace where you have tutors that come from wherever, and you're helping them connect with students from wherever. So do you have a geographic focus? Or do you care?
We do. So from the past 5 years, we are focused mainly in Ontario and generally across the nation in Canada. But we feel like the population in the Kansas, we think about bigger market in the U.S. and Asia. And also, we not only focus on university, we can go to lower age, like maybe K-12, and the continuing education after university. So usually the members start the first year in past, and then like continue to stay with that for another 4 years until maybe they graduate. So the stickiness with the customer is very strong if they like their service.
So I'd like to get a little bit more clarity on the financials that I have here. The 1.8 in 2018, was that your portion of the revenue, the commission, the net commission, or was that the actual total dollar value, right?
The total.
Because the tutors are going to be making money, and then you're going to be taking a percentage of that. So is this the net result of the percentage, or is this the total dollar value?
Is total sales revenue, so gross revenue. We do pay the tutors the commissions, but basically we have a full-time senior headquarter management members. So, but for every geographic location, like school, we have a net profit is about 20 to 30%. So even for that big 1.8 revenues, we still can have about 10% to 15% net profit. Yeah.
And so I see that in 2018, yet in 19 and 20, you're operating at a loss with a fairly significant increase in expenditures. So what's the basis of those expenditures in those years?
So we recruit a lot of senior managers in the headquarters right now, and also we have some technology trying to develop it, and that's the purpose of the platform we're trying to build up. So we have a lot of senior costs, and also we think about franchising our offline business. So we have doing a franchise license. So as we mentioned in Kumo, I think we have a lot of advantage in even the offline service with them. And we believe the future technology learning is just a lot more. You can see 2020 and 21 is a big jump compared with offline services.
So, go.
And is there anyone on your team that has experience in franchising?
We actually have a consultant who is a senior and a lot of experience in franchising. We are kind of like consulting and partner with them, and they're doing franchising with us for every location now.
So this is interesting timing. We have a startup visa company coming in this week from India/Vietnam. They're in the exact same sector that you're in. They refer themselves as the Uber of tutor matching, right? You probably heard that term. They have the technology and they're coming in. What they want to do is they want to expand first in Canada and then to the United States. Right, and they're focusing specifically on what you said, which is very interesting, is the non-Canadian, the immigrant population, which is huge potential. Do you have that technology built? Because these guys have it built. Where are you here? Because I see a collaboration,
Yes.
merger, an acquisition, something of sorts.
Yeah, so we're on our early stage of building the technology, but we already have the MVP product ready and might be able to launch in October. So right now the MVP product is focusing on the matching algorithm and the learning management system, but we haven't had the chatbot stuff building yet. But one way to compensate that is by hiring actual customer service. Which, but yeah, that's where we're at right now. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, guys. 3D Cityscapes.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Reza Jaffery, and I am the CEO of 3D Cityscapes. Our ask is 500,000 Canadian at a 20% discount against a $3 million convertible note. We cannot predict the future, but we can definitely show it to you. What we have built and are proud to be presenting to you tonight is a solution to a long-standing problem that cities as well as developers face when showcasing their projects. We provide interactive 3D software that showcases and presents your cities, your property developments, and your land developments in the most dynamic way possible. Personally, when I was working and designing for a company where we were working on design and infrastructure projects in Canada and across the world, the biggest hurdle that I ever faced was showing the end user, whether it's a stakeholder, the municipality, or the engineers, what the building will look like in the urban fabric around it. I knew there has to be a better way to show this. Using 2D plans just wasn't cutting it. 3D Cityscape is built on gaming software. We use ultra-realistic visualizations with zero latency and 8K technology to tour buildings inside, around them, above them, and even below them. Our powerful visual appeal has already helped us secure LOIs with developers right here in Canada, and we are in the midst of closing the first municipalities right here in the GTA. We are growing fast, and we are constantly improving our systems. Our 3D interactive cities will be on the cloud and will revolutionize the municipal and development space by providing cost-effective, understandable, and dynamically impactful platform to communicate and showcase new and existing land development projects. Imagine the Mayor of Toronto right here in this hall being able to showcase the councillors as well as the citizens of the city what the future of Toronto will look like 10, 15, and 20 years from now. Our artificial intelligence technology and the power of machine learning will enhance our systems on multiple fronts. This will help relieve costs and increase efficiencies as we scale. It's very important for me to mention that we already have a successful enterprise that focuses on the interiors of pre-built homes. That company is called New Home Shop. This company helps property developers showcase their pre-built projects where buyers from anywhere in the world can come in, customize a home, they can share it, they can book it online. We had to start somewhere, so we started with the interiors. Building city environments was always the game plan, though. I grew up dreaming how we can make a game like SimCity a reality. We have bootstrapped our operation, and 3D Cityscapes is self-funded with zero debt. The business opportunity, especially with property developers, is huge. As we all know, the Golden Horseshoe is the fastest growing region in North America. With over 600 property development projects already on deck in the next 7 years, there's over $300 million in marketing revenue that we want to tap into. Tourism and marketing. Imagine visiting Toronto and booking exactly the places that you want to see before you even get here. Municipalities. As we continue to grow and cities are getting more and more dense, it's important to remember that foreign direct investment is huge. You want to use technology to attract the best tech companies to your city. Advertising revenue, absolutely. We also have a recurring revenue model where cities as well as property developers can have monthly and yearly licensing fees to decrease the barrier to entry. The monthly recurring revenue and the annual recurring revenue, this is something that we're definitely focused on. As I mentioned, we have already secured LOIs of over $300,000 for work in 2020. We have several contracts closing with municipalities right here in the GTA. So we're well on our way of hitting our target for 2020, which is just shy of 10 million in sales. Yes, we are aware of the competitive ecosystem. However, our unique software, advanced technology, and cloud-based system and especially the fact that when it comes to quality, time of production, and the cost that we do it at cannot be matched. We are the only company that's taking this onto the cloud. These companies and studios, what they do is single instance projects. Here's a building or a couple of buildings, and this is the vicinity around it. None of them are doing entire cities on the cloud until now. We have a very strong team. James Borst brings over 20 years of marketing and sales experience in technology. The last 3.5 years before he joined me, he was working for Smart Pixel for business development in the GTA in North America. Myself, I've worked for great companies, multi-million-dollar companies such as Olympia, Garland Industries, and even took Home Life as the head of global franchising all over the world. So I've been building buildings, and I've been building development projects. I was just looking for the solution to be able to showcase them better. We have Nabil Jetta, who has worked with Deloitte, and he brings years of financial management experience. Seifa Dogan, extraordinary experience in game design and cloud-based architecture. Zafar Rashid is one of our advisors. He's the CEO of Everest Group of Companies. Ron Jasinski, SVP of Colliers International, and he's been there since 1991. Heather Crosby, Senior Advisor at Venture Labs, IBM Accelerator. We're looking for $500,000 at a 20% discount against a $3 million convertible note. This will directly help us enhance our current infrastructure and platform, and we will use these funds to grow our team and execute more contracts. Within the next 5 to 7 years, we will be acquired by Google, and we hope that you can join us on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you.
So revenues next year, sorry it's not on here, but I think you said 10 million. What are your revenues this year?
So this
you at
year,
zero?
yeah, we've got $300,000 in LOIs slated for next spring, just started, and we expect to have another $1.5 million by the end of this year for LOIs starting next spring and summer. And we have, right now, we have $125,000 in contracts. We'll be closing soon with the city of Whitby and also with the city of Pickering. And we have a major meeting with the city of Mississauga lined up for this Friday. We're presenting to the mayor's office as well as the economic development's office. They have an immediate need for our technology. They actually just had a major meeting 3 weeks ago, and they've asked themselves, how can we get a software or something to showcase? They have 40 plus major high-rise developments happening in Mississauga, but all they currently have are illustrations and also renderings. They don't have anything like a software application what we're offering, so they're very interested in using our service.
Are you bumping into MYP, Map Your Property, very much?
No, we're not, because the visual appeal, what we do is we show the future of what's coming. Also, we're using 8K graphics technology, so we are so confident. I've been around the world selling this software worldwide, and we have the best visual, stunning graphics available. We work in a leading video game technology called Unreal Engine, and the graphics are so superb. Many people look at our software and they say, you're like Google Maps on steroids. And plus, the key thing is we show the future. So if you want to show Mississauga in 5 years, we can show your city completely.
So you're not familiar with what Map Your Property does then, from the sounds of it, because they do the same thing? Yeah. Not in 8K perhaps, but.
Yeah.
I was just curious because you sound very similar, but that's fine.
Sure, yeah. There's a big visual appeal. It has to be shown visually. I mean, I wish you could see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Just to continue on the LOIs that you have in place, their total value is $300K?
Yeah, $300K.
And how long will it take, once it's converted to an actual contract, to complete in order to receive your $300K?
Sure. So both those properties, there's actually 5 properties involved in those 2 LOIs. They'll both happen simultaneously, and it'll take 6 to 8 weeks to complete those.
Each one, or?
All at the same time, yeah, 6 to 8 weeks at the same time.
So is your primary customer municipalities and government?
Our primary customers are property developers, And we've strategically partnered with municipalities and offered them a 10% incentive for every property developer that they bring on board. For example, the city of Whitby has over 45 new developments happening, such as Brookfield and other property developers out there. So when they bring a property developer to the table, they'll earn a 10% credit on all the software applications they have done in the future. So we've created a strategic partnership with them.
So who are you selling into? Who's paying you?
So the municipalities are paying us, and also the property developers are paying us, both of them.
And are they required to use, like, who leads what? Is it the municipality that forces the developer to use your application, or is it the other way around? I'm trying to figure out where the cash flow and transactions happening here.
Yeah, so neither one of them are required by the other one. Property developers, we're already working with property developers now and have been working with property developers, but we saw that there is a great strategic advantage available with working with municipalities. So when they bring a property developer to the table, they're not forced to use it. They just set up a meeting and we do an individual project with that property developer. But the municipality also benefits from that, because when we do the 3D interactive model in our full software platform, the municipality will benefit from the quality of that model. It'll be placed into their cityscape and everybody will be able to utilize it. Does that make sense?
And Ozan, to add to that also, municipalities were telling us that they want to be able to showcase to developers how they want certain areas to look. And this is one tool that actually helps them. So they introduce us to the developer, but they also tell the developer that this is the look that we're going for.
Maybe the easy answer is, who are the LOIs with?
Yeah, so so the LOIs are with two property developers right now. One is Everest Group of Companies, and the other one is with Carmina Developments. And we have two contracts that are going to close soon with the city of Whitby as well as the city of Pickering, slated within the next 8 to 10 weeks.
So LOIs are notoriously slippery. What are the terms here? So in 6 weeks, I think Angela was asking that very question. You're going to receive $300K in business, assuming that the LOI turns into a contract, but that's the understanding. Within 6 weeks of winning that contract, you'll be paid? Or you'll have...
Once you've converted it.
Is that how they work, or are they multi-year LOIs?
Yeah, so for those LOIs, typically we go in 4 stages. So before we start development, we take a 25% deposit, and then by week 2, we take another 25%, and then by week 6, we take another 25%, and then on delivery, we take another 25%.
It's a very similar model to our existing company, New Home Shop. With this, now we're working with municipalities. So we have to keep in mind their RFP threshold. So we try to, that's why the subscription model works better with the municipalities.
So I'd just like to get a sense of the, in light of the fact that it would take 6 to 8 weeks to complete a contract, right? Mm-hmm. Even though you've got that scaled payment structure that that you'll receive, how will you scale to 10 million by 2020? It's just around the corner.
Sure. So we have 3 developers, software developers that are currently working within our company team, and we have created strategic partnerships around the world with 38 other developers who are at our beck and call. They have put us on a priority list of development, and we have access to over 100 more after that. So we can pretty much scale our operations based upon the demand that we have. And outsourcing allows us to leverage our costs. So our costs are about 1/3 of what companies are currently paying for those services right here in Canada. And Canada, believe it or not, is a leading edge provider of 3D software and modeling like this in the world. So typically their cost per hour for employees are around $50, whereas our cost is around $14 per hour.
Do you have any IP protection on what you're doing, or is it patentable? Is it trademarked?
Yeah.
How are you able to protect it so this isn't just copied?
So as we're selling projects right now, by next year, July 2020, why we need the investment money is our cloud-based platform, which will also track user activity, will be patented. We're using a special technology that will be tracking all user activity, and it will open up to the world. So basically, you can imagine that anybody in the world will be able to come on our platform and actually see what's happening in the city of Whitby in 2030, what's happening in Brampton by 2040. So for foreign direct investment, it'll be a great opportunity for these cities to showcase what's available, who are the property developers, and what is our city actually going to look like. So by spring next year, we'll start the patent process so that we'll have that patent in place before we go live with our cloud-based platform in July 2020.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys.
Great, thanks. We at Ethica are in the business of servicing the unserviced. There are too many people in the world, especially in Canada and North America, that do not have sufficient access to internet. That's creating a digital divide, both in terms of social disparities as well as economic issues. We have created a technology that allows users, be it businesses or high-use residential users, to combine multiple internet connections. It creates an overlay that adds up the sum of all of the bandwidth of those connections and delivers those as a single stream to the customer. So if you're in Toronto, for example, you could go and get a Bell connection, a DSL, or you can get 5 Bell connections, and you would actually be multiplying the bandwidth of all of those connections for a single stream. This is really important for guys selling CAD drawings, shipping CAD drawings around the country who need upload bandwidth, and a DSL will not have sufficient upload bandwidth. So now with our technology, you can take 5 or 6 or 7, and the max we've seen so far is 13. DSL connections all at about a megabit per second and upload and create about a 10 megabit per second connection for that customer who is in an underserviced area. On top of that, you can use multiple of the same connections, which is not really a novel technology. It's not anything that's new, but you can also now in Toronto or anywhere in the world, you could take actually disparate internet connections. So you could take a Rogers connection and combine it with a Bell connection for uptime. And now your reliance on your internet provider is not just your reliance on one internet provider. You have now spread the risk of downtime across multiple different paths, autonomous networks. So think of a restaurant that is turning over tables at 7 p.m. and they've got a sole internet connection. Now they can actually back up. For every time that internet connection flaps or goes down, they have a second internet connection that will actually pick up that stream instantaneously and pass that POS transaction. So as customers are moving towards the cloud for a myriad of different applications, some of which have been pitched here today, the reliance on the cloud becomes a reliance on your internet service provider. And what we're trying to do is create a system or a technology that is ubiquitous enough that everybody has reliable internet connectivity. So it works both in underserviced areas and then in areas where they have a significant reliance on the internet and want to sort of back up or double up on their internet connectivity. So what does that mean? In North America, these numbers are humongous. There's 30.4 million people in North America, or households in North America, that have under-provisioned broadband internet at their home. So the government of Canada is trying to increase its spend in the backbone delivery of those networks, but it takes 5 years for them to get it, and they actually need it right now. And the longer we wait, the greater this digital divide grows. Around the world, just picking these countries, it's 152 million of an addressable market. Now, those aren't going to be people who are all going to pay for 2 internet connections and a license fee from us. What we see is about 2 to 3% of residential users are either working at home, they have a cottage where they have multiple people who need to potentially do work, remote office, home office, distributed call centers. gamers, people who run Plex servers and the like out of their home require better internet than one service provider is able to give them. So we've done had some discussions with ISPs across North America. We seem to think that 2 to 3% of the market is addressable from those 152 million that you saw on the last slide, or 30 million. So we think that in number of households just in North America, there's about 900,000 that are addressable from a residential perspective. Throw in about 1 million and so businesses, small and medium businesses that would use a technology like this. We offer our technology through service providers. So the ISP, or what's called a managed service provider, guys who provide cloud-based services like remote backups or just IT support, those are the guys that we go after. There are about 5,000 to 8,000 ISPs in North America. We need about 150 of them to make our number, so roughly about 3%. They already have the customers. They already have the network that supplies sort of the internet, or access to the internet. So there's no big lift from them to learn about this network or this software, and they already have support. So we do this through a channel model in order to keep our team very light and transfer those costs onto the service provider, who then can take this technology and either grow customers, so sell more connections to that customer, or sell more services now that they're giving a 99.999% uptime product as opposed to just a broadband connection that is best effort. They can save customers that are potentially at risk of leaving because of a poor connectivity experience. And they can also then sell outside of their product because we're virtualizing the connectivity. Because a small ISP can now sell anywhere in the world, there's greater opportunity for them to make revenue. Our target revenue per customer, we charge the ISP in a lump sum for the number of licenses that they have deployed at any given time. It's $22.50 per month for business customers, and $9.50 per month for residential customers. And that's just differences in features of the software that would address each of those markets. We feel that, out of the 1.9 million that I mentioned in the last slide, that there's potentially 28 million in monthly recurring revenue out there for this product. We acquire customers right now through channel partners. We have a budget in our forecast and projection model for $400 per service provider. Each service provider puts in 96 customers over the next 2 years, and those customers pay us $14.70. We get $529, and the service provider makes whatever they choose to make. If it's nothing, it's nothing. If it's a loss leader, that's fine too. We can skip over this because we're in 1 minute. So we've been piloting this with 5 ISPs across North America right now. We have identified about 1,300 sites. We need 2,300 to hit profitability. We feel that over the next couple of years, we'll be able to get to 15,000 subscribers and a monthly recurring revenue of $455,000 for a net income of $171,000. That's monthly exit at 2 years. Right now, we've raised $780,000 through friends and family on a $1.5 million pre-money valuation. We are ready to go. We launch next month with a first show that's in New York State. We're excited about it. We're seeking $300,000 in a convertible at 5%, which will help us build the sales and marketing team in order to be able to attract the 150 new ISPs earlier than over the course of the next 2 years. It's really important, the money that we get. The ISPs get in early, they deploy more sites early, the faster we can get to our target revenue. Every month matters. There are other players in this space, but most of them, if not all of them, are trying to be the best product. No one is really tackling the customer intimacy side or the operation.
10 seconds.
Side. Thanks. Sorry, thanks, guys.
Very loud voice.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, you guys are up. Thank you.
Microphone helps. It's a very good presentation. I think you covered off things very well. I guess protection from an IP perspective is something we're curious about.
Yeah, good question. So the way we built the technology is on a bunch of open source platforms. That's basically the sort of foundational elements, but the core of the product is our own. We're actually in conversations right now with our legal representative, who's an investor in our company, to help us with the IP to understand sort of what we can do. So I can't answer that right now. I don't know, but yeah, obviously of the guys that are out there doing this, there's very little likelihood that they'll follow our model and hit our price point. We have sort of a second mover advantage in that regard. We're using cloud-based, fully scalable, like Elastic Compute and AWS for our back end. So we're just paying minimal payments per onboarded customer, which helps in obviously the open source community. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've watched people sink millions and millions of dollars into building this technology in order to go to market, and then it's buggy and it has technical debt. And so what we're trying to do is sort of change that, but we need to protect ourselves because there is obviously the chance that somebody's going to do exactly that.
So I can't help but think, I don't know if you guys know of a company called Degero. A lot of people are invested in it, right? And they actually double down on multiple bandwidths, etc., so that you can actually broadcast. And it's a good company, making hundreds of millions, a lot of money.
Yeah, they are.
I also read this morning, and what's interesting is that you guys are going for the retail market. They're going for enterprise.
That's right.
And that there is a real need for the retail market, especially up northern Canada, etc.
That's right.
So, just by chance, I was reading an article this morning about Huawei coming in with 5G infrastructure, etc., all that stuff. Is this a stopgap technology, or is this something that's going to really kind of continue and live with 5G?
Yeah, it'll live with 5G. We don't have the dollars to be able to spend on understanding our ability to work with 5G, but 5G is really just another access type that's going to still go down or still going to have its issues. And our technology is good enough to pick a 5G connection all the time, but then obviously, go over another connection in case that 5G connection fails. So I don't know fully how we're going to play in 5G, but we don't think that it's going to limit us in any way. And the 5G rollout, as you said, a stopgap, it's going to take a long time for it to hit sort of a ubiquity across North America, or especially across the world. Like there's the global opportunity for this company is huge because we're in North America and we're in Toronto, an area that has 97% broadband coverage. It's crazy how good it is here. But the second you go somewhere else, it's like it's very real there where broadband is insufficient. Like libraries can't provide services to customers in a lot of areas, and well, even in the United States. But certainly the global applicability is there, we think.
So if I understand correctly, you have a box, right?
Yep.
That is multiplexing all of these unprovisioned bandwidth that's available through multiple ISPs.
That's right. Yeah.
And in your box, are you using off-the-shelf devices?
So we built the product on the Linux Unix stack. Okay. We offer the devices, so our revenue numbers are a little bit skewed. Most of this presentation is on just the licensing piece because the whole concept around what we're trying to do is decrease the cost, increase the experience, or the profitable potential of a customer. So we sell a box. We don't mark it up that much, but we sell a box, and in our business plan we've discounted the sales down 50%. So we sell for every license we sell, or for every 2 licenses we sell 1 box because somebody's going to bring their own device. But yeah, the ideal scenario is this is just a white box and you can put any service. So anybody who's doing like a touch bistro, for example, who's moving into the POS space, they can put their server on this box as well. So now it's got more functionality than just what we're doing. There are other things that this box can do, which then decreases your cost per service, and you don't have 600 boxes. Though if you have 13 DSLs, you've got 13 modems in that cabinet.
And I'm particularly interested in the remote communities where this becomes a real issue. Is there sufficient available ISPs there to allow you to mux all of those different provisions?
Yeah, so there's, being a bootstrap company, we haven't been able to test all of the combinations that are available in North America. We'd love to be able to do them. We're working Not as close as we'd like to be with OCE, but they're going to help us with that piece. But we're hoping that we can, we've got conversations with some of the ISPs. In fact, I've got one this Friday with one who services that area specifically because he thinks that there's an opportunity for us. So if he thinks that there's an opportunity for us and he's got a lot of experience there, I'm sort of hoping that if our technology works, then yeah, significant potential to do good up there as well as generate revenue, obviously.
So just to confirm, so you need the cloud access box at the end user site, or?
Need a box at the end user site, yeah.
So it could be the ISP's provided device.
Anything that they could, yeah. A lot of them, when I started doing this 10 years ago, we made the assumption that these ISPs have their own devices, and they don't. They need help finding the devices. So we went out and found the devices, and we figured we can make a buck off of them, so we're going to try to do that. But yeah, if the ISP has their own device, like if they have a voice server and they've got a hosted VoIP application that they're offering there, they can use that box and just put us in a container or flash us on the device.
So are you actually bumping up the speed and the strength of the signal? So let's say, I'll use my cottage for example. It's up north, and I use a ZTE box, which Bell gave us, because the only way we can literally get internet up there. There's no phone line, there's nothing. So we get this box, and it's slow. It's like 40 or 50 megabytes per second. My Rogers Ignite at home is 500.
Right.
So something like this, can that enhance? I get it for a cottage or this. Like what are you going to bump if I'm getting 40 or 50 megabytes per second at the time my internet connection's crap? I want something better. What's it going to be?
So what we could do is combine multiple of those in your case. You have a rare case where you have 40 to 50 megabits per second. There are a lot of cottages that don't even have that. They might have a tenth of that. But yeah, depending on what there are a lot of nuances, but depending on what the cell tower has, we could provide multiple streams of that 4G and actually bond those together, which we've done in the past, and it works. Like we had a silly viewing party of the Raptors game, and we actually watched it in 4K over multiple cell phones that we used, and just combine the speeds of all of them. But yeah, you could do that at your cottage.
Okay, no, let's just understand the market. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Guys. Appreciate it.
Arrow.
Hello, everyone. Welcome tonight, and thank you for coming. My company is Zero.Life, and my name is Douglas Mockery. So it's safe to say everyone in the room has smartphones. Who's in agreement that we pay too much for data in Canada? Well, I think it's a good, 25, 50% at least. So how do we change that? Well, before we change it, we're going to go through the dynamics of what's going on in the economies of Canada, USA, and much throughout the world. Cost of living has gone up dramatically. 50% of Canadians only have $200 or less of disposable income. 40% of Canadians are teetering upon bankruptcy. Now let's look at the US. Right now, debt, $13.54 trillion. The market collapsed in 2008, $12.5 trillion. 7 million plus Americans are 90 days or more behind on auto payments. You talk to any sales car dealership in Canada right now, the reps, well, they see some signs that they saw in 2008. So how do we save Canadians money? Well, how do we augment brands' engagements as well? We've created the Zero.Life Be Free Phone. So we've brought content to the app level, evolving to the OS level. So what it is, content's on your device at all times. What's paying for this is a banking revenue, an ad stream revenue, and we can get into a few other revenue streams and due diligence. So it's always appearing at the top of the device. It's 720 pixel by 240 pixel height. That's the same size as your Pixel. 5,500 milliamp battery. That's double some flagship phones in the market. So what's the TAM here? So it's 500 billion worldwide. Our serviceable market's about 32 billion, and we're confident we can capture that over a 10-year period. So who are customers? They're banking customers. The lifetime value of a banking customer in North America, Canada, and the USA is $145,000. So for them to do a program for customer acquisition or credit card acquisition with us, it's about $150 to $200 in some cases for a bank account acquisition, revenue to us, and the same with a credit card. Ad agencies, well, they've gone through some periods here. They've flagged people with ads. People are sick of ads. So it's not just ads. It's native advertising. It's content, actually, and organic sharing of material, social sharing of content pieces. So end users, who do we start with? Who's our target audience? Well, students. A later age person that already has a mortgage with someone. Students is a prime target for banks. It's also a prime target for onboarding of phones. Single-parent families, they'll benefit the most from this as well. So let's walk through the pricing structure here. So we'll break it down to one phone. 50 cents a day for hardware phone costs, 80 cents a day telecom costs, remainder overhead, 29 cents, leading up to 200K in market units. We can capture 3 million units in Canada, that's conservative, but 20 million in the United States. Once we get to 20 million units in market, that's $15 billion revenue annually. IP. So 1/6 of the world's patents are mobile. 80 patents have ads, the way they're distribution across the phone. So you better have some good IP. We're lucky we have some BlackBerry personnel on board that we'll get into and later some of the IP. So how do we grow? Well, alpha stage to beta stage. We have to prove greater KPIs and 10,000 units in market. Why 10,000 units? Well, that's a break-even point for us. Why do 1,000 when we go to 10,000 and come out on top? So that's why we're going to 10,000 in 2020 August release, leading up to our official launch in 2021 with 1 million going into 2022. So what did Generation Z, a millennial generation, care about? Well, they care about the environment heavily. So we have a whole branding program around that to stimulate this. 50% of our profits of our direct phone sales, people are going to come to our website. If they don't want content on their phone, that's fine. But we're going to have a premium phone, and we have a whole branding aspect offset the free aspect of one of the phones we have. So we've had some great testimonials through some business leaders in Canada, which we're quite happy of. And you need a strong team to execute all this. So luckily, since the age of 5, Vic Bhatia, a great developer for Sephora at Children's Wish Foundations. He sees the value in this project, and he's been generous to donate a lot of his time. Chris Bell, Global Supply Chain, he's another rock star. He took BlackBerry to its peak, as with Sean Taylor. CAC code, privacy's a big issue right now. We have to make sure our architecture is built the right way from day one for the absorption of data collection, which is in the revenue model at a later stage, not initially. We need to wait till things settle in the market. So who am I? Who am I to lead this? Well, content is my specialty. I worked with a lot of the energy drinks, so selling kids sugar candy, basically our sugar liquids. So I learned a lot from this, what they interact with, video content. Our teams were beating American teams with 10 times the market size. So we did quite well. We got a lot of people in trouble in the US. So we won 2018 Most Creative Business. We're quite happy about that. Strong partners. Right now, the funding rounds are going to be listed shortly, but I'm pretty sure we're going to close out with the royal family in Dubai in the next month. But we're quite happy to have them on board. District Ventures, IBM Innovation Space. I'll be great with Calgary, Optify. They have a few patents in play. And also a patent that we're really happy to have aboard is a patent in partnership for one of the first geolocation patents, and that's from 2005. So pre-seed's closed. And these are our sets here, $200,000, closing September 25th, leading up to eventual close of everything June 10th for the $5 million USD we're seeking in 2020, June 10th. So that's a brief of the presentation. Thanks very much for your time. Exit strategy, IPO most likely. We don't want to sell out. We want to basically take down the fat pigs in Canada and throughout the world. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The hardware, the phone itself, who's this provider?
So it's a tier 2 manufacturer in Shenzhen. You'll find that there's about 17 good factories other than your mains. Yeah, they're all located in Shenzhen. So I spent the good part of 3 months over the course of 3 years vetting and dealing with the right factory. Yeah.
And is it running your own operating system or is it Android?
So right now it's just app-based for the beta. change or modify an OS, it costs roughly $1 million over the course of a year. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. So right now it's just Android 9, and we're using the app fixture at the top.
Okay. So you'd have access to any app in Play Store on that device?
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
Very, very important for your demographic, I think.
Yeah. If you do anything against Google's policies, then you're void from that Google Play Store. So that's a very good question. Yeah.
Okay.
How much data is being transferred, user data, to your ad platform?
So how much are we?
Can you take, I go on, I don't know, Facebook, LinkedIn, blah, 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 New York Times, Washington, all that stuff. Does it all come to you?
No, we can't have access to that. So basically what we monitor, I'll have to go to the CTO on that, but the data that we send to the phone is about 2 gigabytes a month of our own content. And with the geolocation tracking, we can know with a partner in Calgary, actually, if you walk into, say, a Loblaws, potentially, with triangular technology, if you're going down aisle 1, we can hone into 10 centimeters square of your location. If you pick up Jiffy peanut butter, we can offer you the PC peanut butter for 50% off because you're exactly in that location within the store. So that's with a patent partnership with a company in Calgary.
Is it unlimited data for the user?
Not in Canada. Canada's a tricky beast. In the USA, yeah, we can provide unlimited, and we have a distribution contract that I'm reviewing actually this week.
Because you're starting off with 2 gigs, you just said, for your actual serving of the ads, right?
Yeah, so in Canada, it's only 2 gigs that we can provide to the end user. There is some other players, one major player left in Saskatchewan that is willing to go to bat with us with a little bit more. So
how much data are you allowing the user to actually use besides the ads?
Just 2 gigabytes. So the average student consumes 1.7 gigabytes a month, and that's due to the fact that most don't have it. They just utilize Wi-Fi between location. Okay. So we can provide them a bit more for safety, location, et cetera, yeah.
Okay, so the user has 2 gigs. I thought you were saying that the video stream uses up 2 gigs.
Yeah, 2 and 2, so a total of 4.
Total
we
4.
offer
Okay,
we offer 2, yeah.
Okay, great.
So I have to wait till 2021 before I can get it?
National launch in USA 2021. So that's we're going to try to go all throughout Canada in 2021 as well. But we need a certain amount of users in a location. So we need population density, business density, and then purchasing power as requirements. So Vancouver, 88% incomes go towards housing, and so that's why a lot of people camp there and eat and then pay for their homes. So purchasing power is very limited there. So in Canada, good cities are Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, and Quebec to start. Rural though, LOI with the company Rural Distributing, they're the Canada's number one aftermarket parts supplier. They usually send essentials for machinery. Parts businesses are great. They always survive during recessions. So the model is after 2 years, we get the phones back, swap out the battery, send to rural areas. So that reinforces us as a nation, and then we go to nations that need it the most, say nations in Africa. Yeah.
So your solution, is it locked into that particular handset, or can you migrate to another handset if you get sort of on allocation with that provider?
Yeah, we can transfer the apps right now, no problem, to Android. Apple's a tricky beast, and that's a great question because 60% of North America is iPhone. So that's why we really do have to get in early with those end users. But we do have a solution to get around iPhone if they don't allow us on. We actually have a patent in PCT in play. I think it's at the PCT stage now. Retractable case, and of course, sensors, if you put your thumb across that, it's going to shut down your data. The same applies to this case that can manipulate itself around about 3 different iPhones in market right now. That's not built. That's very expensive to build, but that's at a later stage. Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm trying to figure out who your real target market is.
That's what I was going to ask.
You know, the U.S. is unlimited, but why would I get your product in the U.S. where Canada is, you know, very limited with data access? So I was like, okay, well, and it's expensive. So is your target market regions where it's very expensive data, is sold? Or
Yeah, any market. We're setting up 1,000 people a day right now throughout USA. So,
Can I jump in? It's a free phone, right? It's free.
yeah, it's free.
Free.
So you just get okay, all right. So,
Free and 2
so
gigs a day.
student, okay, so let me rephrase. So your target market's really student population?
Yeah.
Who really, they can't drop $1,000 on a phone? Okay.
Yeah, there's 3 segments. College
Everything
students.
is free, everything.
The use is free.
Okay.
So, any concern that Amazon thinks this is a great idea for Prime users?
Well, I actually had some direction for.
Prime users have money.
They got scared by their tablet, their $35 tablet. People don't want to pay for a cheap device. You better give it to them for free, but this isn't a cheap device even. We're lucky we have the banking partnership that will pay for a quality phone. This retails for generally $400, $500. So a 48 megapixel, 5,500 milliamp battery. This one has a 16 megapixel camera, but I want even better for North American market. So, yeah.
Just clarifying, the video stream is always running, even, or is there an off mode?
Yeah, you can't have it during filming, photography, and there's a few other aspects where you can't have a moving image with another moving image. It really disturbs the end user, so we can't go that far. Yeah.
Or in a classroom.
Well, it's banned now
Right?
in classrooms, but we have someone on that working around that, so it's all right for other provinces.
So are you building, is AeroLife a phone brand that you're going to try to do, or is it an app that you download to whatever?
It's both.
What are you going for here?
It's both. Really, the main objective here is to bring down world populations for the fact that we consume what the world can give us. This year was July 29th, last year was August 8th, so the faster we educate the world, there's less population, and that stabilizes everything. So the phones are a metric to get these in the hands of everyone in the world, give them access to information where normally it wouldn't be. And immigrants used to come here and they'd save up for encyclopedia for their families. That was the main driver for next level education. Now it's the phones. So we want to provide children with the best capabilities possible. That's what's going to happen here.
But clarifying, just reading your write-up, you don't need that phone per se. It could be, you just thought you needed your own phone to get things moving.
Yeah, no one wants to play with us right now because we're disrupting 3 different industries. I had to take out an insurance policy for my life with one of the investors. That was a month ago. We had a good laugh over that, but he said, "What's more expensive? So, what's less expensive, killing you or buying you out?"
Well, there's death, and then there's also death by litigation. And
That's true. That's a great point. You got to navigate those waters. That's the most important waters to navigate, and you better have a firm that's willing to do phantom equity. Yeah.
Okay, we're good then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Sanjeev Sharma. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Highmark Interactive. Highmark Interactive was born trying to create a new type of medical device and create a new paradigm for medical testing. We have become the world's first gamified, mobile, FDA-approved medical diagnostic equipment. Why is this needed? We live in an interesting time where our knowledge about the brain and neuroscience is expanding, yet at the same time, our ability to understand the brain and assess the brain has not changed. The same diagnostic tests we had 2 decades ago, CT scans, MRI scans, have not evolved. HI has the evolution of diagnostics for the brain. Traditional testing has been a single point in time, going back to the concept of the MRI, which is one picture. We are looking at ongoing testing over the course of time to get a much richer picture of the brain. Traditional testing has been single vector, looking at the anatomy, looking at one vector of function. Our testing looks at all the different pieces that we think the brain operates and is control of. Traditional testing is expensive. It's typically at a hospital or at a clinic. Our testing, if you've got a mobile device, you've got the ability to be tested. And whereas normal testing is anxiety-provoking and quite boring, this is a game that the kids are playing and people are playing that is doing real-time testing for them. Our solution is our advantage. The interface is technology, but we also have a web dashboard beyond the app where organizations can take a look at analytics, can take a look at compliance management, large-scale rollout for large organizations. The algorithm is part of the IP that the company has. A patent has been filed. It's a global patent. The real key behind the technology is how we built the engine. We took a Lego approach that we could customize software for different verticals where they were looking to assess brain function or cerebral function. That's given us the ability to have software that has touch points along multiple verticals: workplace safety, mental health, elder care, concussion management, and in the cannabis sector. All of these verticals, we are currently in discussions with new business or new clients. These are the key milestones into getting here. In 2017, we did a seed round in which we laid the foundation for the business. To put this into context, typically to get FDA approval takes 5 to 6 years as a Class 2 medical device and takes about $34 million US. We've been able to get there in 2 years at a total all cost in of $3 million. As you go through the different stages, we are right on target for market launch September 2019. Our FDA approval came in literally last month. Who are the keys to our success? Who are we? You can see my background on the slide. This is my second startup. My third startup. My first startup was a fail. My second startup became one of Canada's largest occupational health and safety companies. Me and my brother co-founded those businesses, so we've done this before. The rest of the team also has tremendous experience. Tyler spent 15 years working with the NHLPA, working with sports leagues. Dave Crane has done this in the past with other companies and bringing companies to FDA approval. And Don Harkness is our CFO with 20 years experience as a CA, both with publicly traded companies and private companies. The most important part of this slide is our medical advisory board. With new technologies and new devices, if you don't have buy-in from academia, if they don't believe your technology will change the way patients are treated, your technology will perish. The slide speaks to global academic leaders. We've got Cambridge University, we've got Harvard, UCLA, and on the far left, Karen Barlow out of University of Queensland in Australia. These are global thought leaders that have seen the technology that we've developed and are either helping us build it or doing research on it using the technology. Our professional advisory board, I won't go through all the characters other than speak to Haley Wickenheiser as the chair of that board, as somebody who's won the Order of Canada, someone who has multiple gold winner at the Olympics. All of these athletes, Bryce Salvador, Chuck Kobasu, have lost their professional careers secondary to head injury or some sort of brain injury. Andy O'Brien was the key individual driving the recovery of Sid Crosby while he struggled with his head injury issues a few years ago. The medtech market is immense. If you look at just the digital health market, it's $4.3 billion, but if you take a look at everything we're touching with mental health and mobile health, we're looking at a $206 addressable market size, $206 billion addressable market size. When we look at our billing forecast, there's three sort of entry points for how we generate revenue over the next 12 to 24 months. There's general health. We have partnered with one of the largest insurance brokerages in the world, and we are working with one of the largest insurance companies in Canada. There is concussion. We're working with professional leagues around the world and amateur leagues in the US, and cannabis. And we're in discussions with a number of publicly traded companies at the C-suite and chairman level. Those three segments generate our funnel and generate our forecast. The key parts of the forecast here are the next 12 months, 4.4 in revenue. That is revenue we have visibility on based on what is in our sales funnel today. Looking at 24 months, we're looking at 9.9 million in revenue. What we're looking to do today is raise $2 million Canadian and at a pre-money of $15 million. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate in 7 minutes you can't talk much about the technology, which is fine, but I am kind of curious. Is it a device that actually requires FDA approval? It looks like it's an interactive attempt to understand what's going on in your brain.
So the difference between what we've built and what is on the App Store or the Android store is if you don't have FDA clearance, clinicians won't use it. Clinicians won't use it, it won't get widespread adoption because patients aren't going to use something that their doctors won't use or the doctors won't recognize or take into account. So the software are just games. There's 7 different games that the kids play or adults play, depending on the design. A full check-in takes about 12 minutes, and the understanding or the approach is, for example, in the concussion market, you're playing the game through the season, we're getting a better understanding of your neurologic status, your neurologic equilibrium. You have a collision. Right at that point of collision, we pull the person off the field, we test them again, and if there's a difference between what they normally score and what they score at that point of collision, that is highly indicative of a concussion.
And is it an automated type of feedback loop? Like everything is stored in the cloud and
everything's stored on the cloud, everything's stored on your device. So if you're a parent, you're a coach, you can look at that particular individual and look at their scores over the last 2 years, last 2 weeks, and see if there's been any kind of trend and see if this is a difference. The dashboard allows the administrator of the league or the administrator of the school to take a look at who's been compliant with check-ins, who's falling off the curve, to predict someone who might be at risk before they actually have an incident. So the dashboard view gives you a much broader view of all the check-ins that are happening and any one individual who might be at higher risk for having a fall or having a head injury.
ready to monopolize here? And your revenue model, how is that?
We just literally, in this last month, received FDA clearance. We haven't even put the press release out yet, so you guys are the first people to hear about it. We have been talking to different organizations until we had that FDA clearance and we're a true medical device. We didn't want to sell the device, and we didn't want to take the revenue. Now that that's done, we expect to generate $4 million in the next 12 months, and that's based on clear contracts.
That's not a revenue model. I mean, how do you?
Oh, sorry. So it's a subscription fee. So it's $50 per year or $4 per month, depending on who's purchasing the software.
But who is purchasing the software? Is it the high school student, or is it the high school, or is it?
It depends. So in some cases, remember, we've got a sports concussion module, and that module is being purchased by leagues, by schools, and by clinicians. And so if the league purchases it, it'll decide how much it's going to subsidize and how much it's going to bring down towards the kids. If a school purchases it, we've had schools in Michigan run pilots, they pay for it out of their budget. We're looking at $3 to $4 per student per month, and they're more than happy to do that because of the risk around not having some sort of tracking system for a head injury. The risk for schools not reacting promptly is much greater than the $40 you're paying per year per student.
Can you talk a little more about your competition? There are other ways to diagnose and or track whether somebody has concussion, especially and most of them are targeting the sports sector. Where do you stand here? We've seen just over the past 12 months probably like 5 different.
It's a great question. So part of the challenge is sort of sorting through the noise to figuring out what really is diagnosing concussion versus what sounds like it. There was a recent press release about a blood test that will diagnose concussion. Having been a physician for 20 years, I looked at that particular study, and it was more designed towards who needed a CAT scan, not who's been diagnosed with a concussion. As far as we know, we're the first FDA and CE mark cleared provider globally to help provide answers with concussion with a holistic view.
What's the FDA approvals? I assume you went through clinical trials.
Correct.
And it was peer reviewed, and what has been the efficacy of your solution?
What has been the
how effective is your outcomes relating to both the to the concussions and so on?
The bench, thankfully, the benchmark set by the FDA is fairly high. So the studies are IRB approved, peer reviewed. Our diagnostic accuracy approaches 92%. And that seems to be the number that the FDA has been happy with, along with the way the studies have been conducted. The principal investigator on our study was a neurosurgeon with privileges at University of Toronto, but it was a study done with participants across Canada.
It sounds, I mean, the technical homework you've done meticulously. What's your sales model? How are you going to get to the end users? How are you going to close it? How are you going to market it? What's your plan?
So there's two models. There's our direct to consumer model, where we've got reps calling leagues, calling schools, directly selling. And then there's the indirect model, where we've partnered with a large insurance brokerage that sees the value in our tech and is bringing our tech to their clients. It's a large company out of the U.S. There's one of the big four insurance companies in this country sees the value with our tech. Same sort of thing. They're bringing it to their clients under their group benefits model. They're looking at this as a way of rolling it in, almost like an EAP type service.
So how many people do you have in sales and marketing right now working on it?
We've spent the last probably 4 or 5 months getting our website ready, getting the branding ready. This round, this $2 million, is to hire the sales force. We have one head of sales and marketing. We have one marketing sort of admin assistant helping that person out currently.
Okay. You talk a little more about your IP protection? This is software, right?
Correct. Yeah. The patent is filed globally. It was filed earlier this summer.
What does it cover?
It covers the medical testing. The medical testing has different skins, like it looks differently when you look at it. So someone in Europe won't have a football, they'll have a soccer ball. Somebody in Canada will have a football, not a soccer ball. But the core engine, the ability to take these medical tests, create a score, and have that score sort of fit into an algorithm to assess diagnostic accuracy, that engine and that algorithm is what the IP is around.
Okay. And what non-business question? Well, actually, a business question. What was your valuation?
15.
15
million, 3.7 in already.
Correct.
2 million raise. Revenue to date, 0. But over the next 12 months, 4 million.
Correct.
Now that the FDA approval, do you have do you have any like signed MOUs, signed contracts to cover up the pipeline here? The 4 million?
We have 2 contracts that are basically in the papering stage, and we couldn't paper them fully because we didn't have the FDA completed. So now that that's done, we're going through the actual papering stage.
This is with the insurance companies?
One insurance company and one cannabis company.
Cannabis company. Okay.
The cannabis companies, so with 7 minutes you can't speak about the tech broadly enough, but the tech allows the cannabis companies to better understand the impact of CBD and THC and dose titration with respect to the brain because of the testing that we allow on the platform. The best way to think about it is it's a brand new way to test the brain that is not anxiety provoking, that's engaging, that uses games.
So it's sort of generic then in that context, or your FDA approval covered concussions and several other?
The FDA approval covered the ability for us to assess somebody's balance, how somebody's gait is, and so from that itself, we can draw a number of conclusions because your balance is dependent on without getting too anatomical, your brain, your nervous systems, and your peripheral nerves. And so we can draw from that FDA approval a whole bunch of extrapolations beyond just the concussion market. Sort of off-label indications, if you will.
So you said 2 million raised at a 15 million valuation. Is that pref shares or is that a convertible note or?
It'd be common equity.
With a discount or just?
Well, the way we look at it is we've had offers to buy the business on the back of getting the FDA approval because it costs large companies $35 million US, and so we've looked at that at the exit and said, we know we can get a better exit in 12 to 24 months. And so we've applied a small discount to what we think that the company's worth, but it's straight equity, straight common shares.
Straight common shares, okay. And who's your target exit market?
There's a firm, there's a number of different firms in different verticals. In the interactive space, Achille Interactive would be a company that would take us out. They've raised $100 million. And they have a gamified platform, and they're looking for FDA approval. At the other extreme would be a company called Impact, which has had control of the concussion market, doesn't have a digital solution today.
What about your overseas goals? I mean,
We have
Europe, Asia.
We have CE mark, which means we're the only company to be regulatory approved both in North America and Europe. We have a partnership with the Carrick Institute that has 40 facilities globally, of which 20 are in Europe. His facilities educate clinicians, educate physicians, and he will be pushing our app through his network.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fly shot.
Okay, hello everyone. Good evening. This is FlyShot. We monetize visual content. FlyShot drives mobile app transactions through encrypted branded visuals published on any digital medium. Since the advent of advertising, marketers have been forced to measure campaign performance through vanity metrics. These are impressions, engagements, likes, followers, and comments that don't mean anything to their bottom lines. FlyShot is first in industry to drive and attribute sales revenue from branded visual content at scale. Our customers have invested in the company and are waiting for us to launch. We have 12 pilot clients signed on pre-launch within 3 months. 16.4K MRR in November. This is 2 months post-launch. We had an oversubscribed angel round that consisted of LPs at some of Canada's largest funds, as well as our customers. This is a quote from one of our customers. Investing in FlyShot is an easy call. They focus on growing their customers' bottom line. Using their technology, we're confident about acquiring high LTV users by directly promoting our in-app purchase. Some of the customers that have signed up include Drop, that just completed their $58 million Series B, and are one of our key advocates. The problem? Acquiring app installs kills profit margins. The global cost per install rate is about $4, yet the value of 1 in every 6 installs is 0. 38% of installs are fraud, yet the 2018 install spend was $29 billion. Acquiring in-app purchases is too expensive. Cost per in-app purchase today is about $75, and only 5.8% of users make in-app purchases. However, these small yet highly valuable set of users drove $37 billion in in-app purchase revenue in 2017. This brings us to a $38 billion market opportunity by increasing purchasing users by 80% through FlyShot's promotions, by enticing installs and enticing installs by directly promoting our in-app purchases. Each user acquired through install has 120% higher LTV than a traditional install ad. How it works? It's a novel concept. So you take a screenshot of a branded visual that works with FlyShot, and you receive a contextual in-app alert in an associated app which corresponds to that particular promotion. So here's a content creator or an influencer, you say, that's creating this piece of content, and he asks his followers to take a screenshot of the photo, and this is an example, this is a case study for Bejeweled, which is an electronic arts game that we're currently speaking to. Gaming is a big vertical for us. So he says, take a screenshot of my photo to get 50% off this in-game purchase. The second his followers open the app or install it for the first time, they get this targeted alert that was customized by their user acquisition manager. And our alerts drive in-app purchases that go through the iOS app stores or Android app stores. We also drive in-app checkouts. So for apps such as Uber Eats or the food app that we saw today, or shopping apps, the exact value of the transaction, where the transaction goes through the app's own internal payment system and not the app store. We also drive new installs, obviously. We drive installs for free. Sign-ups and self-defined conversion. So for Checkout 51, one of our customers, it's a receipt scan. For Drop, it's a credit card link. Cost per action campaigns, the pivot of performance marketing today is is something our customers love. So this is the transaction being pulled to our dashboard as a result of our SDK integrated. The value of this transaction was $1.99. So now we know this particular content creator drove $61,000 and $61,068 in revenue, very precise, very granular, and he was paid only $3,000. Right, so his return on ad spend was over 1,900%. These KPIs do not exist in the market today. The only thing you would track is likes, comments, and followers, and you'd still pay for that. As a result, this was a campaign run by Bejeweled, so total revenue driven was $130,000. Total cost by using 7 creators on a fixed fee basis, $21K. Using us as a SaaS fee was $18K. Their profit was $90K. New installs, campaign ROI, and more. So we run CPI campaigns, CPA campaigns, which are very popular. And we also allow advertisers to use their own creative collateral. So they don't have to use content creators, even though we have 2.3 million on our platform as a result of a licensing deal with one of the largest influencer platforms in the market. But we're a monetization engine, so the advertiser could use their own creative collateral, put our tracker inside it, and drive those in-app purchases. So here's who's in the market. So there's traditional, influencer marketing platforms that only focus on discovery and matchmaking, only report on engagements. Mobile attribution solutions, on the other hand, Branch and AppsFlyer, only drive installs, don't use influencers as a traffic source. Paid advertisers like Facebook ads and AdMob, high cost, low margin, only drive app installs. And platforms that use similar technology, image fingerprinting, that only focus on different domains, women's fashion, and more. Again, we're a SaaS platform, and we charge advertisers based on their daily active users and app, and that ranges from $799 to $4,500. We found that agencies love this because it gives them an ability to, so I'm coding one of the agencies that has Airbnb and Lyft as clients, so they said this is a perfect premium product to add to one of our clients because it can actually numerically show the ROI of their campaigns as opposed to vanity metrics again. So we have fixed fee campaigns that run from them, which they add on to the cost of their original campaign. So growth plans. So we launched, Flyshot is very young. We incorporated, I would say, in about December 17th. So we've only, we started developing in February. So we're about, you could say, 7 months old. But in 7 months, we've raised $220K in angel financing, completed our product. We have a mobile SDK, a web platform, and an app, a superstar CTO, go more on him later, 14 LOIs, a team of 11 now, and we're currently raising $600K in a pre-seed financing, which is partly committed by Plug and Play Ventures, Silicon Valley's marquee fund. More coming in right now, we're almost on the verge of closing. Successful demos and beta tests are currently running, SDK built for native and hybrid apps, the most popular programming languages. We have about 59K in MRR right now. This is weighted, and this is based on 35% probability of contact made in 45 of the demos we've given. We're giving about 3 demos per week, and they're going really successfully. None, we have not. So we're currently running beta tests, but we're projected to do 4,500 based on LOIs and contracts signed with customers. So the product quite literally just finished right now.
So all the numbers we saw in the presentation were theoretical then?
Well, these are projections based on the contracts signed and conversations had with customers. So so we raised 220K on safes, 3 million cap, 20% discount, raising another 500, likely to 700 based on the interest so far, 7 million cap, 10% discount, pretty much to make our team. So, there's a lot of demand for our product. We were using outsourced development so far, which essentially allowed us to keep it very lean. But really the
10 seconds.
Right now is to invest in our development. We'll end the year with 57K in revenue. Next year, 1.1 with 87 customers, which is very doable, very easy. 6.8 million the year later from 440 customers. This is based on the projections, but the 57 is actuals to your question earlier, based on the customer signed our LOIs and contracts.
And we're going to have to transition into questions because we'll run out of time. So
sure. It's my last
thank you.
Happy to give you my background.
Competitive market, good presentations. You certainly know it well. It's a competitive space, and I've seen a lot of different pitches on similar type stuff. If I was to say to you, what's the one thing that really sets you apart from your competition? What is it?
Well, there's nobody right now that's able to give you granular transactions as a result of a piece of content that's posted on the web. So we don't really have any direct. We have a lot of indirect competitions in that Branch and AppsFlyer have deep links, which drive trackable traffic inside native mobile apps, right? And that's why our customer segment is native mobile apps and not e-commerce, because the pathways of driving trackable traffic inside native mobile apps don't exist yet. So Branch would be a competitor, and they have rolled out some functionality for content marketing and influencer marketing, but they're still standard links, deep links, that take you inside a native mobile app, right, and track those transactions. So it's still a mobile link, whereas what we do, we encrypt the links and their corresponding data inside images.
So that's the technology that sets you apart?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And taking that image to, right now it's digital images, but we're taking that to video content and very soon analog images. So, currently if you try to attribute conversions from a billboard, you're not able to. But our goal is to essentially, you're looking at a billboard, you take a screenshot or a photo, and you're linked to a particular mobile app conversion.
You have an amazing background, Tanya, and I think I'm impressed with your reach and as an influencer with quite a bit of following. So kudos to you. In your presentation, you mentioned that Plug and Play had invested. How much was it, and for what did you have to give up for it?
They have committed. So Plug and Play never leads. So they launched their new ad tech vertical, and I was up in the Valley last month, and I pitched at their session. So I've been speaking to them for about a month now. They've been very interested, and so they've committed to about $250K to following whoever leads this round. So I'm currently in conversations with a number of funds, and we're looking to close sometime by the end of October.
And at what valuation?
This is a safe, so it would be a $7 million cap and a 10% discount.
And Plug and Play is on that safe? They're comfortable with that safe, or have they put forth their term sheet?
No, so they said, give me the term sheet, we're going to be participating. So they've asked for the term sheet.
Whoever leads, they'll follow on that term sheet?
Yes, yes. So a number of US-based funds and a number of Canadian funds as well, particularly pre-seed funds, right? So we obviously are young, but we have developed enough traction in terms of our customers. So Drop Technologies is very, very happy to be our early customer. So in October, these customers are ready to onboard. It's simply we had to finish developing, right? And the first thing we did was go to these customers, validated that, are you going to pay for this? And so as a result of these 14 LOIs, we in fact stopped collecting LOIs because there were enough, but we have 14 LOIs since the second month after conceptualization that gave us the confidence to build further.
So you're raising 500. Plug and Play is already committed to 50, provided that the lead gets 250, right?
Yes.
So you raise 250, you raise 500. What's your next round? When is it? Because it looks like you're going to need a lot more money.
Absolutely. So the next round is pretty much our $3 million seed, likely in Q2 to Q3 of 2020. And so that's going to be our main round. Right now it's a pre-seed. Obviously, we want to scale our dev team and our sales team to be able to fulfill this demand. We'll pretty much be at 50K MRR, in the bank by that time at minimum. Right now, the agency deals is really heating up. We have about 2 agencies that we're speaking to, and it's a larger size. It's about a 15K subscription per month for an agency. And so $3 million seed. We're also at the DMZ, so So DMZ, and we have a pretty solid advisory board. John Walsh monetized Pokemon Go. So he's one of our key customers as well as an advisor. So PopReach is his gaming company. Ray Sharma of Extreme Venture Partners is a close friend. And so he's giving us one of his games in October. Has over 100K daily active users at the $4,500 subscription. So he was the one that I went to first and said, are you going to pay? And, he's one of our customers.
So how many people on staff currently that are full-time?
We have 7 full-time right now. This is me, my CTO, my assistant, and an account executive, 3 developers full-time, and 4 developers part-time. And our goal is to get those 4 full-time as soon as possible. We also want to hire another PM and a QA engineer before the end of the year. So our approximate dev spend is about $25K per month right now. And we're getting the dev done in Belarus, so it's a dev for equity deal with a firm that was excellent. We were paying about a quarter of what we would have paid. So we, essentially, I only paid about $69K so far to get the dev done, which is extremely lean. And yeah, so we definitely want to increase on that.
And what's the use of funds, the 500K?
Dev spend, and also sales. So 2 sales reps coming in January, as well as obviously the PM and the QA engineer, and really expanding on sales and marketing. And yeah, so my CTO, Ronan, he was the VP Technology at Curate Mobile, so one of Canada's largest mobile advertising firms, built their mobile growth transaction tracking engine, over 1 billion transactions a month, perfect person to build this. And my CSO, Patrick, has been selling ad tech to apps for the last 11 years. He was the account executive for EA, Letgo, Starbucks, and more, so most of these LOIs and the conversations we're having, he's very, very helpful.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so thank you very much, guys. That was, well, it was awesome. So I think everybody did a great job. Advisors, thank you very much for your questions. Startups, thank you very much for great pitches. You guys did a phenomenal job. So I give you guys all a hand because you guys really did a great job. Thank you.